What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Down Unders. Brody, this is episode number 4, my brother. It's been going so well so far and all that. But last time we spoke, bro, State of Origin, your Blues got a really nice win, bro. How are you feeling after the Blues victory? The Doggies getting a nice win too. A lot of things looking up on your end of the field there. Over there,
yeah,
culture.
Look, it was a great week, brother. Can't complain at all. I guarantee you were having flashbacks on that Wednesday night. It was a bit of a horrid week for you, bro. So I'm glad that the Warriors turned it around for you on the weekend, my man. But yeah, no, good. It was a really good game. I was very happy with how the Blues wanted to show up with energy and really turn it around after that game 1, and it really just sets it up now for the big dance, I guess you'll call it.
Yeah, 100%, bro. I'm really excited to go and experience that with you. Obviously, you know, massive decider down at Suncourt. We're definitely going to be going to that. But while we're touching on it, bro, let's go through our thoughts overall in the game. Like, you know, what were you thinking the key parts that the Blues really had over the Maroons? Did you find it really early on you had ascendancy over the game, you considered it all the way through, or did you find there was a turning point in the game where you thought everything was really going your way and the Blues just put it on us and just dominated us from the start to finish? What were your overall thoughts? Because I felt like it was a very dominant victory from the Blues, and I really did feel like it actually started from get-go. You know, the ascendancy they got in the ruck, they just looked like they're more athletic. They were bouncing off tackles. Like, it was just, it looks like the boys couldn't do anything to control the ruck. But what were your thoughts overall on the Blues' performance, and what were the turning points in the game, you reckon?
I think, like you said, it was the ascendancy straight off the kickoff. I think there was a little clip I seen of Mitch Moses like pushing Cotter in the back on the kickoff, like straight away letting you guys know, like it's on. If you guys want to go, it's on. So like just little things like that, and you know, it's probably does deserve a penalty, and it's normally a penalty, but you know, it's Origin, let it happen. So I think from that moment, like they really just got under Queensland's skin and just brung the energy, and I don't know, maybe Queensland were a little bit conservative and a little bit on the back burner, complacent, you'll call it, knowing that they had one game up already. They get to go to Queensland. So I think, you know, we just showed up with more energy, and the line speed just killed you guys. And once a couple of tries get poured on early, especially when, you know, it's a nothing game, I guess, to Queensland, they were just already looking towards game 3. I think they actually did really well in that second half to hold it together. So, but yeah, I just think just energy. It was just the energy from the get-go, you know, the line speed, the meters that the Blues were making compared to Queensland, and just the contact. You could tell the difference in the contact. It was like boys playing men out there is the way that the Blues were D'ing up. So, it was a really good first half. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I think that was like pretty much a picture perfect first half. Like, I think from stats and that, from memory, because I don't really have them up next to me in that, but I think in that first half, you had like 70% possession at one point there. You completed at like 99%. Like, you only dropped the ball once with Critter early on in the game. And then even then, like, it just looked like you were trying to attack everywhere, and you're really pinpointing a lot of areas in our squad that were really hampered. And we may as well touch on the left side first of all before we go on to Mitchell Moses, the player of the match and all that. But we'll go through the left side. Angus Crichton, Latrell Mitchell is everything that you believed it was going to be. Obviously, Latrell getting back into that Blues jersey, like, he looked incredible out there. But Angus Crichton on that edge, I think there's a lot of talk around him at the moment. Like, what were your thoughts on that left side of the Blues? I thought they were tremendous in that game.
Yeah, look, Angus Crichton probably was your man in the match, short of Mitch Moses
Mm,
getting 4 try assists, but dirty work wise and a solid 80-minute performance of just tough nut work was Angus Crichton summed up to a T.
yeah.
And then Latrell, well, you just know he's built for big games. He always has been. I'm glad that we got to see him fit and we got to see him in his element, really. Valentine Holmes will be having nightmares still to this day of Latrell Mitchell. So, it was
Mm.
just good. And then, Toto, you're always going to get what you get from Toto, but it was nice to
Oh,
see him get
freak.
a couple of doubles to go with all the hard work that he always puts in. But yeah, Latrell, Angus, Toto, that left side in general, I feel like
Mm,
Luai really complemented them really well.
Luai.
As he just gave early ball to Latrell when he needed to give early ball, and Queensland were just stunned. But Angus, man, hats off. It's going to be another test again to do it at Suncorp, and they're going to be expecting it. So it's going to be a really good test, and it'll be good to see who adjusts better out of the 2 games again for this third one. So, but yeah, left edge
Mm.
on fire, man, on fire.
Yeah, let's move to the motor room in the middle. Like, I felt like that Payne Haas probably had one of his better, if not best, game of Origin in that one. He looked incredible. Like, he looked like legit a man amongst boys. Like, the boys couldn't get him on his back. He was just bouncing, as I said, breaking tackles. Like, ran for close to 200 meters in that game too. Like, incredible. But also Spencer Leniu coming off the bench again. Like, the perfect change from having Madge's like interchanging was incredible in that game, I thought too. Like, as soon as you felt like you had a little bit of dip in momentum where the Maroons started to like look like they were putting more shoulder contact in or trying to win the wrestle a little bit more, we tried to ease the pain a little bit. He goes bang, have a little bit of fresh Spencer Leniu off the bench and just broke the game back open again. Just incredible from Spencer and that. But what are your thoughts on the motor room there, bro? There's some of your big front rower moments like Payne Haas, Spencer Leniu, those boys.
Yeah, look, the go forward of those two in general, man, just have to have one of those guys in your team, let alone 2, and you get to interchange them for each
Mm,
other is absolutely insane. And, I've still seen people trying to shit on Travojevic, but, he did what he needed to do, which was take the sting out of the game. If you look
yep.
at that first 20 minutes he played, he was in almost every second tackle and winning those tackles as well. It's not just, I was third man in. Like, nah, he was first contact on their back, really slowing down Queensland, taking that sting out and putting a lot of sting into Queensland. So,
Yeah.
he's not there to run the meters that Haas does or have a line break or tackle breaks. Jake Travojevic is there to lead, first of all, with his
Yep.
voice, and then that line speed, and it's in defense. He's there solely for defense, and he did his job, and that's why he's the captain. And then you're bringing the likes of Zayo on that does have that bit more of a
Mm.
ball playing, the leg speed in attack, and still very good defensively. But Jake Travojevic did his job. But yeah, Payne Haas, Spencer Leniu, it's going to be interesting to see how you guys combat that again come
Yeah.
game 3. So.
Yeah, and Cam Murray too, for a guy that only just came back off injury and got back into the Origin arena, like unreal performance from him as well. I thought like his quick play ball speed in the middle really hampered us as well. Like just majority, like the amount of momentum he's created through the middle and then he shifted it to your edges that had just game breakers left, right, and center. It was the perfect game. Like it was the perfect game for the Blues. And we may as well move it over to the guy that conducted the show now. I want to talk about a little bit of Mitchell Moses, and a lot of people are talking about is one of the best like halfback moments for the Blues since Joey Johns in 2005. So I don't know how crazy of a take that is. Obviously, he's not Joey, but he definitely
No,
played an
no.
amazing game of football. 4 try assists, conducted really well. His kicking game was unreal. I think I remember like one point there where, again, I think we had a moment where I think we finally held you behind that, like that 40 meter line, that behind that 50. And then just that boot just comes out and puts us on the back foot. He found the grass in behind the boys from like a 40 meter fit. Like it was unreal, bro. Like, what were your thoughts on Mitchell Moses? And is there a future that he could just keep Cleary out of that 7 role, or do they run a 7-6 of Cleary and Moses? What's your thoughts there too?
Oh, look, that's tough. I don't think you can run Cleary and Moses together. Oh,
No.
potentially you could, because Moses he does like playing off the cuff, so it could be 5'8". But,
Yep.
then it's going to be a battle of the kicking game, and I want the ball on last and this and that. So
Yeah.
it'll be tough to run them together, but I definitely think you try it. I mean, there's no problem in trying it if they're both the two in-form halves and depending on injuries. But yeah, man, unreal performance. You know, coming from a team that's in poor form, only having 2 games under your belt, to pull out an Origin performance like that is, it's incredible. Yeah, what more can you say, really? 4 try and assist. It's hard enough to do at club level, let alone at Origin. So yeah, unreal. And you're right, that kicking game of his really turned the game, and I think that was the difference as well. It kind of stopped any pressure that Queensland were trying to build on our end. You just couldn't, you know, even if you held us inside our 30, like you said, you finally turn the screws a little bit, and then he pulls out a kick that goes down to your 20 and finds the ground. Like that's that's unreal, and that's a lot like, you know, Matt Burton does as well. But yeah, Moses, man, unreal. And I think that, I think, you know, you potentially look at who's in form next year and injuries. I'm sure that'll play a part of it again. But, you know, they're sport for choice, unlike poor Queensland, where they get less to choose from. But, hey, whoever they do pick still shows up and does their job, and that's all you can ask for. So,
yeah, and that's what we're hoping for, obviously, here in the decider in game 3. I think, you know, DCE definitely got limited very, like I thought the Blues limited him as much as they could. Like, I felt like his kicking game was non-existent at points there too. Like, as soon as your team gets put on the back foot, you got no forward progression, none of that. Like, it's a really tough game to really wrangle back as like one of your strike players like Reece and all that. But, I think the biggest thing for Mitchell Moses coming into the next game is replicating that performance, because like that was probably, what would you say, a 10 out of 10 performance there for Mitchell Moses?
Yeah. It's hard to knock that from being a 10 out of 10. He was great defensively, great attack. Look, he doesn't need to worry about trying to go out there and, you know, make that's the standard. I have to get that. You know, he just needs to be good, and he just needs to just take everything one play at a time. That's what Origin is. So make sure you get into your kick well, making sure your passes are finding your player's chest, and then just defending well. He doesn't need to go out there and set up 4 tries. He just needs to do that, the 1%ers, man, and that will take him a long way. And he says it himself, as soon as he gets that first kick off his boot he's set for the whole game. So he just needs to really focus on the little moments, and the game will come to him again. And you've seen that he's playing without pressure on his shoulders, and he just needs to continue to do that. And funny enough, I never rated Mitchell Moses. I thought he was a little bit overrated, but he's really, you know, I'll cop it on the chin that he's really turned it around. And I think that's something that you see in the NRL with halfbacks, is the later they get into their career, they develop a lot better. You know, they play their fine prime around that 28, 27 mark. Whereas when they're young, you know, they get chucked on the spotlight. A bit like Sam Walker, you know, he got chucked on the spotlight. He's the next big thing. And then they dropped him to New South Wales Cup after a year because he had a couple of bad games. And now he's back and playing better than ever. So, you know, there's just too much pressure on the young fellas. So it's good to see Mitch Moses back and really proving all the haters wrong. So, I think he just needs to take it step by step in game 3. It's going to be a lot harder. It's going to be a lot more pressure, especially crowd pressure. But yeah, it's going to be good to watch live. What changes do you think Queensland should make with their team for game 3, if any?
For me, I never like. I think one change, like I was always like, I would love to see Dave Fafita back in that lineup. You know what I mean? Like, I reckon he'd be awesome to have. But again, like if we run the same team out there on paper, I wouldn't like be, you know, like I understand why we ran that team on paper and all that. I think the biggest thing for me was it just looked like we were off mentally in that game to start with anyway. I felt like the Blues shell shocked us. Like I wouldn't say that we went in that with like not thinking that the Blues are going to turn up the way they did, but I think the ascendancy the Blues had early on really blew the boys out of the water, and it just felt like they couldn't wrestle it back, which is it's not really the Queensland sort of thing, you know what I mean? We've seen the team on paper do, you know, hold into a contest and just drag it out. I think this is like one of the first times in a couple of years where it's really blown out the way it did in that first half. But again, like if you look at a series past, like game 2s of, you know, 2022, you beat us 44-12. Like we've had blowouts in game 2s before. I think for us, it's just getting back to what we know. I know we're going to be feeding off the energy at Suncorp. That's a big thing for us as well. But if I was going to make any change, bro, I would probably look at bringing Dave Fafita in just for an impact. Like we need something that can bend a line a little bit more. Whether that's at the expense of maybe Kurt Catewell, I'll probably look at. I thought Curdy was good to fill in different spots and stuff, but I think that having Fafita either off the bench or starting on that left edge would be a little bit more intimidating for Blues, fans out there. And when you got someone like Liam Martin there too, I feel like you got to go at him with someone athletic, you know what I mean? That can really take it to him. Not to say Sewer can't do that, but I felt like Sewer wasn't up to the task in that last game there. But I feel like Dave Fafita would be fairly up to that task. Other than that, bro, Selwyn Cobbo should come back into the side, I'd reckon. Obviously, Xavier Coates go down with injury. The Hammer should be back in. Yeah, apparently he's good for game 3, apparently. Yeah, I've heard rumors that he's good for game 3. He won't be playing anywhere up till then, though. Because I think it was a grade 1 AEC joint from memory.
Okay.
I could be wrong. It could be new news out there that I haven't seen there. Have you seen anything different there?
No. I just seen the original news that he was possibly out.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he's not, and we can run with him there because, like, I would love it. I think Gags would do a job if we put him there, but I think that we should be putting Selwyn probably go to the right edge, playing that wing role. Yeah. Other than that, I wouldn't change anything top to bottom. I think that's pretty much how we run there, and I think we just roll up with a new mentality. And I'm sure that Billy will be showing the Maroons all the clips of that game, where they got ascendancy, the chirp that was in the contest, like how they took it to us and really embarrassed us. You know what I mean? Like, and it's time to get one back. And I think that's what we do best. We've had game 2s like this before, and then we can pull people like pants down like we usually do. So
100%.
As I kind of touch on, the Blues media, they run with this sort of thing. The New South Wales media, they're like the biggest juggernaut of pushing crazy things left, right, and center. As I said, I heard that, Mitchell Moses is like the second coming of Andrew Johns, and I was never thought I thought that was you know what I mean? You hear stuff like that, you're just oh, it's one game, guys. It's the thing. It's you just want to see consistency with the Blues, and for us, it's just getting back to what we know and love. It's going to be a great game though, bro, because if you turn up anywhere close to that performance there, it's going to be a fucking belter when you got game breakers like the Trell at Suncorp.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro. So moving on,
Hammer is in, bro. Sorry. Hammer is in.
Hammer is in?
Yeah, he's fit. Yeah. They reckon fit for game 3.
You had me worried there. You had me worried there, bro.
Got to scare you a little bit, bro.
Tans, we'll get to the Tupanua signing a little bit later, but we will be getting to it because Brodie's definitely got some cool thoughts about the Tupanua signing. But we may as well roll into our team of the week for the weekend, brother, and go through the games of the weekend last weekend. Is that all you got to touch on with Origin, you reckon?
Yeah, bro. Look, there's not much to touch on, really. I wouldn't get too excited. I'm not too excited as a Blues supporter, and I wouldn't be too disheartened if I was a Queensland supporter. It's going to be at Suncorp, as we know. Queensland will go and get pumped one week, and then they'll show up next week, and it'll be a fucking 10-8 scoreline. They're just really good at knuckling down and fixing up their errors, and Billy's a smart man, so I'm not worried. I wouldn't be worried, so it'll be a great game.
And guys, also just continue to tune into Down Unders because we got the Wednesday show next week. We'll probably have the team list out for the Origin, so we'll probably preview that. And then we'll probably end up doing, we won't be able to do a Down Unders when we go into Origin and that, but we might be able to do a pre-record, or we'll figure out something for that anyway. So do keep an eye out for...
Caxton.
Live from the Caxton?
Nah, definitely not. Bro. I'll be getting jabbed.
Oh my God. That's a dangerous game, bro. That's a dangerous game. But we'll roll through the team of the week for this week, guys, before we go through the weekend, the games, and then go through the news of the weekend. So, at fullback, we got James Tedesco. Brother, how good was James Tedesco on the weekend? Bro, his numbers were incredible.
Yeah, unreal. Old Teddy, whether it's the system and the form that the Roosters are in, but at the end of the day, he's captain for a reason, and he's the one steering that ship. Well, not steering the ship, but he's fucking right there making that ship run. So he's insane, and it's good to see that he hasn't taken it to heart that he got dropped from the Blues. He's just playing his great footy, and solid captain now.
True professional, bro. I think that's the best words you could say for James Tedesco. He's just unreal. With our winger pairing, we've got Greggy Marju, had an incredible game on the weekend there too, and Daniel Tupou. The other honourable mention we want to bring up, Cole Felt. Shout out Cole Felt. Better than Brian Toto, apparently. You were going to say it, weren't you?
No, I wasn't going to say it. I hate to mention that, Cole Felt Is anyone good just because this one dude has really ruined it for me? I don't think Kyle Felt's a bad player at all, you know. I think he's a bit of a
Nah.
grub, but you know, but you know, he plays well. But yeah, what he did for the Cowboys on the weekend, short of like all the fancy stats on paper, you know, I think he did snag a try though. But short of all the other stats, like, you know, he was really good defensively. He did his job under the high balls, and you know, he really did his hard work out of his ends, you know. So short of, you know, Greg Marju and Daniel Tupu, who just had freak games, he did all the little things right. He potentially could have snagged a spot there, but yeah, shout out to Kyle Felt and that one fan.
Yeah, massive honorable mention to Cole Fell and the ghost of Brian Soto. In the centers, bro, we got Bradnam Best, and we got a little one to talk about. But first of all, before we go through the other centers, Brady Best, bro, fucking incredible game from him. What, he upwards of like 300 meters. He almost broke a record in that game. I think it got redone or something like that, because he got 2 looks of like Fox Media sort of meter, like how they count the meters and that, to NRL.com. I know there's both hands like that, but still, like the game that he had, like what, 2 runaway tries, like he's an absolute freak. And if Latrell Mitchell wasn't ready to go on that left edge center Origin, he would definitely be there, wouldn't you reckon?
Oh, 100%, man. And even if you know, you left Latrell in there, it would be tough. But if, you know, you had Lomax go down or something, you would potentially move even Critter to a wing to just squeeze Bradnam Best and Latrell in there. He's been playing unreal. And yeah, just a freak performance. So it's just sad that he was injured again as well before Origin selections for that game too. But, you know, Latrell, you can't go past Latrell, and you never will. If he's fit, you pick him. So, but Bradnam Best, man, insane.
Incredible, bro. And the one that we're going back and forth of, so Brodie put up the name of Selwyn Cobbo. I brought up the name of Jesse Ramian, guys. So we want to throw it to you guys in the chat. Both had really, really solid games. I think we were talking in the pre-stage and that about both these boys here. The stats-wise say, like the run meters for Jesse Ramian, he got through a lot of work in that game, but I'll say the game-breaking mentality of Selwyn Cobbo, as we know as Warriors fans from the weekend, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Selwyn Cobbos here in the chat as well when they get caught up in the chat. So I want to see what you guys' thoughts are there. So you'd agree with me there, bro. Hey, Selwyn probably had more of the game-breaking sort of game, where Jesse Ramian had a really top-notch, just, you know, bring your hard hat, I'm going to work sort of performance there. What are your thoughts there between those two?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think Cobbo 9 tackle breaks, 140 odd meters, whereas Ramian was 1 tackle break, but 190 meters or something, you know, and Cobbo had 2 line breaks, whereas Ramian had 1 try assist. So, you know, Ramian was better defense-wise. Cobbo was a little bit off defense-wise. So, yeah, I don't know. The chat can decide that one, but I would be happy with either of those guys named in that center role in a losing team as well. So I think, yeah, even though the Broncos got beaten by more, I still think Cobbo over Ramian, but yeah, we'll leave that up to the chat. So fire those comments in and we'll see what we think there.
100%. And before we jump on everyone else there too, like as I said, like, you know, Warriors fans, we watched the game of the weekend. I felt like he was definitely the most dangerous Bronco on the weekend. I thought he was incredible. Like Xavier Willison had a good game in that second half there. He really found ascendancy. Ezra Mann had his moment, the 40-20 and all that. But out of everyone, I was more worried about when Selwyn Cobbo got his hands on the ball. He seemed to be doing some things where I was like, you know, just keep 100%. It away from him, and hopefully he brings that to Origin for us, you know, when we go to Origin and that. But moving on, while everyone jumps into the chat, we're going to go through our halves pairing. So we got Tamati Martin and we got Matt Burton. So Tamati Martin at number 7, Matt Burton at number 6. We felt like these are the 2 best pairing, I reckon, from the weekend. Tamati Martin was just wheeling and dealing out there for us. And Matty Burton, bro, like the boot on that man, just like you cannot say enough about Matty Burton's boot, bro. It's incredible, right?
Yeah, he saved us in that game, man. It's simple as that. And, you know, when that man is 35, 36 and he doesn't want to do the contact or tackle anymore, shoot over to America, man. You get another 5 years on big money. just to kick a ball, man. Fuck, I would be.
Bro, he would do a job there too. Could you imagine running 100%. It back and having Matty Burton just snap you and a punt return?
You wouldn't even need to, bro. He's booting that over the dead ball and he'll just walk straight back to the bench. Sit down before it's even landed, bro.
Easy cold Millie for a game, bro. Easy done. Easy work.
Fucking A.
And then honorable mention there, we have Mitchell Moses, who, again, like, he just continues to show, like, he's finding consistency now as a halfback, and I think that was always the knock on Mitchell Moses is one game he's hot, one game he's cold. Coming out of Origin, had an incredible game, come back to club, and he still like tried all he could to get the Eels over the top of the Newcastle Knights. So I thought he did a really, really good job there. Moving on to our front row pairing of Fisher Harris and Mitch Barnett. So both these guys were incredible. I thought Fisher Harris, you pointed it out to me the other day too, bro. Like Fish, bro. He was like legit. Brody came up to me at work. He was like, "Did you see Fisher in that game?" I was like, "I hope that Fish is the Fish we come to the Warriors, huh? He's going to be incredible for us."
He will be, man. That first half performance, especially with Isaiah Yeo starting on the bench, he was like, yeah, get on my back. You know, like the Panthers didn't play their best attacking footy, but man, did he lead that engine room up the front. Hey, like 40 minutes, that whole first half he played. I think he ended up with 40 tackles, ridiculous amount of run meters, just insane. So you guys are so lucky. You got him coming next year. I did see earlier comments about, his signing on an Instagram post when he first signed with you guys about, he's no Adam Fanua-Blake. He can't go 80. He can't attack. Man, he's scored tries recently. He's playing full first halves. And at the end of the day, he's got 3 rings, baby. So it's, that's a win-win for you guys. So that's insane.
The standard he's going to set, the leadership he's going to set is the biggest thing for us. And then that even leads on to Mitch Barnett, bro, like who's been our absolute leader this season. Like if he's not playing, we've seen us just fall off a complete cliff as we did with the Titans. I think it just holds everyone accountable, but also like just his skill set alone has got him to Origin. And I'm sure that Mitch Barnett loves being at the Warriors because when he was at Newcastle, I don't think there was anyone really going Mitch Barnett for Origin. But around us now, like, that's incredible. Big games for him lately and all that, and he's been incredible for us. With the number 9, we're going with your man, your hooker yourself, Grub 2.0. Everyone's calling him there, bro. Up the Grub. We got Reed Marnie, Michael Ennis reincarnated. No, it was an incredible performance from Reed Marnie, bro. He was trying to hold you guys into that game.
Yeah, he was. He was great defensively. I thought he was pretty... not poor attackingly, but probably one of his worst games attackingly. He wasn't getting those grubber kicks through the line like he normally does. He was probably finding too many funny settlers again in the middle. And I don't know if that's because, we had Kraz playing at a position at fullback. So he thought, the crash plays on. But, other than that, still unreal, man. Defensively, he really holds that middle together for such a small man to racked up 50 tackles, I think it was on the weekend. So that's just insane. You can't go past that, and especially to do it over 80 minutes as well as get to dummy half. That's crazy, man. I don't know how these hookers do it, man. They're so fit. Smallest guys on the field, doing the most tackles, and got to get to dummy half almost every play. That's incredible.
Yeah, and also shout out to honorable mention, Jacob Little, who's been going so under the radar lately. Like, he's been incredible. Like, 42 tackles in that last game there. I'm pretty sure scoring a try as well. Damien Cook going over to the Dragons, like him and Cookie. Maybe I'm not sure what that rotation will be like, but I think Jacob Little's been really, really solid for the Dragons ever since they got him. I think injury is the only thing that holds that man back, eh?
I think he might actually look at potentially getting a deal from the Knights now if he hasn't signed to the Dragons. I've seen that they talked about Jaden Brayley potentially walking. So I know that might be going injury for injury, but Jacob Little, though, he's young, man. If he gets past his injuries, he's definitely a talent to watch.
He's incredible, bro. He's incredible. And then moving on to our edge back rollers, we're going all Dragons here, brother. We're going Jaden Sewer and RFM, Raymond Faitala Mariner. Both these boys absolutely incredible. Like, for a Dragon side that, started off the game. They were down 6-0 at halftime, or 2-0? I don't even think the Dragon, there was even a scoreline. I think it was 6-0 by halftime. And then, coming home strong, the way the Dragons use their edge back rollers in that system at the moment, both these guys absolutely feast out there. I think RFM was upwards nearly up to 200 meters, and I'm pretty sure Jaden Sewer topped that from memory. I'll just get the stats up really, really quickly. I'm pretty sure 208 run meters there for Jaden Sewer. Like, coming off of Origin where he didn't have his best game in Origin, I thought had a really solid performance here for the Dragons.
Yeah, playing with that chip on his shoulder for sure. But yeah, the way that you mentioned it, bro, what Flanagan expects of his back rolls is hard fit. And those guys are definitely showing that fitness right now. And man, RFM potentially signing of the year. In all honesty, bro, like, Critter, but
Critter,
he's up there. That's absolutely incredible. With that guy, being told from the doggies for whatever reason, what it was, you're free to look around. yeah, he's just gone to the Dragons, no sweat, no drama, just get on with it, play footy. And he's really forced himself into that starting lineup. He's even kept out, the likes of Luciano. So that's just, hats off to him, man. Incredible.
Absolute freak, man. He's done really amazing. I love the way they run their sets there too. Like, I was talking about, like, Betty Hunt will hit him on an overs line there, and then like either Tyrell Sloan will feed into that middle or like a support play. So they'll have a pop back on the inside if they pop through, a nice little offload there. They just seem to just attack it all the time. Bang, 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 short. And it just seems to break teams open. So shout out to the Dragons. They've been actually having a really solid year for a lot of people thinking they were going to be wooden spooners. Like, they've been really, really good this year. Again, exactly. They do it all the time, bro. It's crazy. And the last guy there, I felt like he didn't get a lot of talk by a lot of media outlets over the weekend and that, but I felt like he was definitely one of our best out there on the football field. Dylan Walker, I thought he was probably, I think the close second to him would have been, for me, like Cam McGuinness. I thought Cam McGuinness got through a ton of work over the weekend.
Yeah,
but
he played great.
Dylan Walker, he played awesome, mate. Yeah. But what Dylan Walker did for us through the middle, bro, his foot speed, link man play, like he was just incredible. Ran for like 150, over 150, I think 170 at one point overall. Like he was incredible out there for us, and I had to have him in there because I don't think a lot of people were talking about it, but he's been, like, when he's been in that 13 jersey, he's been one of the better 13s in the competition. Like, I think he's incredible.
Yeah, I think you don't play him on an edge. As simple as that. The Titans game not alone proved that, but his performances in the middle and his numbers are much better. And if you're going to play Dylan Walker, he doesn't really have a spot. He came through the system as a center, 5'8", yada yada. But now, I think in the middle for sure. The lock forward's starting to become a smaller man. It's like a second hooker / half. I don't know, man. I don't know what the lock is these days, but Dylan Walker can definitely be that. He's great there, and I think that's where you guys should keep him. He ties it all together. Between him and Barnett, your middle is so much more solid, and that doesn't put the pressure on the edges. So yeah, hats off to Walker for sure.
100%. So our team of the week, and a lot of you guys didn't chuck up in the chat, either Selwyn Cobbo or Jesse Ramian. You know what? I'm going to do it for you guys anyway. We're going to put Selwyn Cobbo in there. We're going to go Selwyn Cobbo. I think Selwyn Cobbo had a great, game-breaking game of the weekend, but honorable mention there, Jesse Ramian, for putting the hard hat out there and, getting through his work, 190 of the best. So we're going to go Teddy out fullback, Greg Marju and Daniel Tupou as our wingers, Bratton Best and Selwyn Cobbo as our centers, Matty Burton, Tamade Martin as a 6 and 7, Fisher Harris, Mitch Barnett up front with Reed Money as our hooker, Sua and Faitala Mariner as our edgies, and our 13 to lock it all together, the lock in the middle, Dylan Walker. So tell us your thoughts overall in the comment section, guys. Your thoughts on the team of the week. Overall, great little week. We may as well touch on a little bit of the weekend, bro. Our thoughts over every game before we get through the news coming into the upcoming week. The first game of the weekend, the Doggies versus the Sharkies, 15-14.
I'm not surprised, brother. I'm not surprised.
Not surprised. Your thoughts overall from your performance? I know that you had a lot of qualms. Your attacking football wasn't there in that game, but defensively to hold the Sharks to 14 points and to get a victory when the Sharks scored more tries than you, that just shows the Doggies where they're at this season. They're willing to grind all the way the full 80 minutes and going over than that to win this game. So incredible performance. What's your thoughts?
But first off, the media needs to chill on poor Nico Hines, man. Like, I've seen news articles straight away about Nico will be 10 feet under. I'm like, dude, chill the fuck out, honestly. Man, he had a poor performance, all right? Other than that, he's still up the top of the Daily M, whether that's rigged or not. I don't buy into the Daily M now. After last year, man, just robbery these days. But yeah, no, poor Nico, man. He played great other than his kicking game. And by kicking game, I mean his conversions and the field goal. It is what it is. That's going to happen. That's footy. Move on. I hope he comes out this week and he'll absolutely clutch it. So get on Nico Hines for a try this week for sure. But other than that, man, yeah, I was really disappointed. I sent you a text after the game about how happy I was to still pull that win out of the finals, win out of the fire.
Yep.
I thought we did absolutely incredible defensively to hold on, and it looked like the Sharks were just coming and coming and coming, and well, yay.
Pause.
Pause. But no, it looked like they were going to come over the top of us, man. And fucking hell, this doesn't get any better.
It never does, bro. It never does
No, no,
either.
no, 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 no. But yeah, look, they started to win the field position battle. We couldn't get out of our 30. It was solely on Burton's boot that we were actually surviving. You know, I thought Will Kennedy was great out of the back. He really started off the Shark sets really well. And then Jesse Raymond as well, putting that hard hat on. But yeah, he really saved us, Burton. And yeah, you know, I won't call him clutch because he did miss a couple of field goals, but he got it right, and we got the win. So yeah, I just thought we were a bit poor attackively. You know, whether, like I said, that's Karaz playing at the back, so our structure down that end wasn't flowing. Our centers didn't get any early ball inside, you know, the 30 attacking the line. And I feel like we just weren't linking properly there. And I do think that was maybe because of Karaz, but I thought Sexton probably played his worst game since he's been back in the team this year. Too many shows and goes. I thought it was like Drew Hutchison out there. You know, like I know Critter backed up from Origin and he was probably a bit sore and, you know, he didn't do the usual workload. He was more so there for presence, but, you know, he didn't get the ball early once inside that 30 to actually throw up anything attackingly. So I don't know. It was very poor attackingly, but I thought good enough to get the job done, and a win's a win. You know, I'll take it. That's puts us into, I think we're 6 now. Oh, absolutely. You know, incredible. I'll take it. A 1-point win, a 6-point win. We're actually 5th. So that's 5th. There you go. Incredible, so, yeah, bro. Like overall, man, our defense was outstanding. Our attack, I'm not too worried. You know, I think that was just a bit of a breakdown there with Kraz having the chuck to fullback last minute there, even though he still played great. But attackingly, he didn't offer too much points wise. A lot. Just the workhorse that he is.
Yeah, that's the thing, bro. Like, yeah, I think that definitely was a big key factor to why your attack probably didn't look as great in this game here with the Sharkies. Sharkies are like a decent defensive side as well. So like, you know, it could have just been that arm wrestle as well. But yeah, Karaz didn't offer a lot, especially linking out to his outside man in sweep plays and stuff like that. Like, even though Tracy is predominantly a run first sort of fullback, I think he's just more of a, he finds himself in the right places at the right time. He runs that, like his timing's a lot better. But like either way, like shout out to Critter too. Like, as you kind of touch on a little bit, like, you know, backing up after Origin would have been sore, but he was just there for presence. But also, like, you know, touching on the Nico Hines story and everything like that, the story that came out that Critter went down the sheds and cuddled Nico and said, like, you know, I'm here for you and all that sort of stuff. Like, for an opposing player to do that, like, I think it was mid-game too. I think it happened after the Reed Money situation and stuff. Like, that just shows the type of character Critter is. And I think everyone's starting to really fall in love with Critter, especially after those days of the Panthers days where everyone legit hated everyone in that Panthers side, just the ego they had. But Critter's just showing how much of a leader and just like he's bringing a lot of New South Wales together, which is a big thing. Like, he could easily be the guy that could bring it all together. He could be the guy that wins the game for you at Suncorp Stadium, like he's done, you know, the grand final with the Rabbitohs, that sort of stuff. He's a game breaker. But he holds a team together. He's handshakes. He just gets it with the boys. But yeah, grindy contest defensively, bro. You guys are unreal. I think you're the best. Second best defensive team in points per game overall, but you're actually the best team in the competition for limiting tries in the competition. So the Panthers actually leak a slight, like, is a 0.1 or 0.2 more tries than you comparatively over the year. But you actually, like, they allow less points scored on them. So a couple of conversions definitely haven't gone their way there for you guys there too. I like it. Up there, the best defensive team in the competition. You can't go behind that. Like a Sharkies team that only scored 14 on you, it's always a really, really good show of how good your defense is, because the Sharkies attacking fit is like incredible, really.
Yeah, 100%. And just on Critter, man, we just got to remember this dude is 23. He's won 3 premierships. I don't think he's actually bagged a center of the year yet. I could be wrong. Yeah, he definitely deserves to. But man, if he takes us deep into the finals or finishes top 4, when do we start talking about, you know, Stephen Crichton being probably potentially one of the best centers ever to play the game? I know that's hard, you know, because he was part of the Penrith system, and, you know, you can't sit there and go, all of those players are probably the best ever in their position. But, you know, Stephen Crichton, man, he's gone to a team that finished well outside of the 8 last year, been struggling. If he takes us into the finals or deep into the finals, man, that's incredible at 23. Imagine what this dude's going to achieve by the time he's 30. That's insane. That's insane.
It's hectic, bro, because like it's his leadership that's the biggest thing. And you're kind of noticing it sometimes when with the Panthers at the moment. Like the Panthers are still up there at the top of the comp, like with the Melbourne Storm. Like they're thereabouts again this season, as they will be. Their system's incredible, but you can just tell there's a little bit of difference there with the Panthers this season, to where they just seemed, even though defensively they're still rock solid, they're still the best team in the competition. It just felt different with Critter there comparatively to Isaac Tungo and
100%.
Alamonte. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, just full class, the Critter, bro. Like he's been incredible, and he's definitely a story I want to continue following for the like see how far he can get, because he set the standards so high. You giggling at it, bro.
Oh, bro, I was a joke I was gonna make was, oh, bro, did you hear that Sean Johnson's not playing this weekend? I'm a bit disappointed. We might lose now, but somebody already beat me to it.
McGrath, get out of it, mate.
I completely agree,
alone, bro.
I was kind of hoping Johnson made a comeback.
Leave my man alone. Greatest halfback of all time, baby.
Oh, okay.
Joking. Anyway, we may as well move on to the greatest performance of all time. The Warriors getting over the Brisbane Broncos, 32-16, brother. 6 tries to 3.
The Broncos, brother, is a great performance. I'll give you that.
I understand it's Broncos B-side. We understand this, but it's still a dominant victory. It's still a dominant victory from the start to finish. And like, to be honest, even when the Broncos scored the back-to-back tries on us, you can check the live streams, there are receipts out there, the chat was getting negative. They're like, here we go again. I was just sitting there going, guys, like the effort, everything I'm seeing there, the boys are on tonight. Like, I don't think they're going to do what they've done before. They've shown that. 6 tries to 3 against an attacking outfit like the Brisbane Broncos. First of all, we'll touch on the Brisbane Broncos a little bit more, because I think like us getting back to form, like it's great to see and all that. But the Brisbane Broncos, like they're really starting to fall off the pace. Are you starting to see it more so, like the pressure going on Jock Madden, the Tristan Sailor? I'm seeing a lot of Broncos fans, because I got the Broncos on Instagram and that. They are calling for heads there at the moment in the comment section. Kevy's picking the same squad back and again. So what's your thoughts overall on the Broncos, bro? Are they on the mad slide, and could they possibly miss the 8 this year?
Well, honestly, what more do they have to pick from though? In a team that 4 or 5 Origin players are out, your star halfback's out, and your fullback, that is probably the biggest X factor that made the Broncos so great last year. Let's be real. He gave them that flair. Other than that, their outside backs aren't performing attack-wise, whether that's the halves, starting with the halves, or what. But, Tristan Sailor, I don't know who that was either, that came out and said that he was a top 5 fullback when he played 3 NRL games. Like, bro, I would be hiding too. Not that he's been bad, and I'm not shitting on the young kid, but,
nah.
It's so quick that the media puts such a big praise on these kids. And then they throw big money at them, and then there's pressure on them when they have a bad game. I mean, come on. But yeah, with the Broncos, man, I wouldn't worry too much. Again, they're only sitting 1 or 2 wins outside the 8. If they sneak inside the 8, get all their players fit, come that finals, I wouldn't want to be standing across from them. Yeah, no. They've got that many points in them. If they show up on the day, especially, the benefits that the Broncos get with the whistle, they're going to beat anyone, man, come finals time if they're fit, in all honesty. So I wouldn't stress too much. Like you said, you gave them a bit of a touch up, but 16-point win. You could say baby Broncos, like they used to cry all the time during the Origin period, but you were also coming off a 66 pumping. So to show out the way you guys did against any team and not drop your heads too much was outstanding. So Broncos fans, as much as I hate you, stay patient. You make the finals, you'll go decent, but it shows that you really shouldn't choke when you get to the big game, and you might have a ring.
Pause. This is getting a theme in this podcast right now, brother.
Sorry.
Was it with the Broncos, bro? Like as I keep touching on, I really do think that they have a system that's built around some of their superstars. Like they just believe that the superstars of like Reece, all those boys will pull it out of the fire. Like they throw football out the back to Reece. He's going to do something with it. I think the missing part of that is having an Adam Reynolds there that's allowed to just like, he looks over everyone and say, guys, let's just run through a set, get through, earn the right to play football. The
earn the
Broncos
right.
don't have that
Exactly.
currently. Yeah, I
No.
think they have a lot of youth there that want to throw the football around because they've seen Reese do it. They've seen the
No.
Broncos that are there doing it, but it doesn't suit them when they're not there. You know, if they just roll up the sleeves, just go straight, like early set, just get down, maybe early kick or get through a full tackle or five, get a kick in the corner and just get into the momentum of the game, you'll find more opportunities later on because the attacking outfit's still there. Like Dean Mariner's incredible. You know, Selwyn Cobbo can break a game open. Ezra Mam can break a game open. These guys were still in that lineup over the weekend. So they're some of the better attacking pieces. It's just they got to play smarter football at times. You know, they were trying to work out their back end and not earn it. You know what I mean? They've done this multiple times in this little period of where they've fallen off a lot of games. And I feel like Adam Reynolds is a very big key piece that he doesn't just look at the boys and be like, hey guys, just roll up the sleeves, roll for our sets and get down the other end of the field.
I completely agree, brother. And I do think that they're missing a big one, especially is Tommy Flegler. I reckon they're missing him a lot. You know, that front row pairing that you're scared to run at. He could bend the line back. I think they're missing that a little bit with Corey Jensen. And then to add on to that, I really feel like they're missing Herbie Farnworth. Cobbo's been great, but I really think Staggs has been struggling for probably this year and last year. But, you know, Herbie Farnworth, you're going to get 150 meters out of him, potential line break, you know, tackle breaks. And then Kurt Catewell as well, just leadership, you know, that older head. You know, they've got no older heads there at the moment, especially with Reynolds out. And I think that's where they're lacking is that composure. So you hit the nail on the head, bro. Adam Reynolds is such a key piece. We've seen what just one player, especially a key player like a halfback, can do for a team. So, Adam Reynolds, man, get fit. The Broncos need you.
I think I was listening to the buy round today, and I think the Cheese said something really, really good. Like, you know, even with like Paddy Carrigan and those boys in the lineup, without Adam Reynolds or something like that, the oldest and the most leader in that squad is Paddy Carrigan, and he's 26 years old. Like, you're gonna turn and look to a 26-year-old and go, "What are we doing? Like, you know, where are we going?" And Paddy's good enough to get him around the park when he's there. Like, but he's doing a lot of dirty work there too. You know what I mean? And he's still young into the game. When you have someone with experience that is just like, boys, let's just roll through the sets and just do what we're supposed to do, like an Adam Reynolds has been there, done that. Like, that's the way, like, you know, he helps a lot. Like, the voice carries a lot more than a lot of the younger blokes out there that think they know what they're doing, but a lot of their words just don't really get held. Like, Ezra Mam's another one that he's so young at the moment. I don't expect him to really pick up the pieces of Adam Reynolds when the team's not there. It just doesn't suit his game currently right now. Maybe in the future, but it doesn't do it right now. And having Jock Madden there, that's a young halfback that's still learning the game, just doesn't help him in that 7 jersey where he just wants to play slick football instead of just rolling up sleeves, kicking down the field and all that. But off the Broncos to the Warriors, one of the biggest turnarounds we've seen in football, like 66 points getting put on us last week to, you know, beating the Broncos by 16 this week. Like, you know, from what you saw, if you guys want to see any of my thoughts and all that, go check out All You Can Eat's Warriors. I gave out pretty much all my thoughts, you know, earlier in that game or any of our post-match show. But what do you see in that game? What do you think about the Warriors' performance there? Like, Tamani Martin, incredible at the 7 jersey, like in the 7 role, just wheeling, dealing. Chanel Harris-Tavita looked incredible out there too. But just a really solid performance, top to bottom, and effort areas were all there in that game.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I didn't actually get to watch this one. It's on the same time as my game. Warriors seem to be a fair bit, that 3 o'clock mark when I'm playing on a Saturday. But just from the highlights alone, like, that's the biggest thing that would scare me playing the Warriors is that engine room just going forward and then your halfback playing flat off the back of it and not this out to the edge, shift. Nah, eyes up footy, the halves linking up and just seems to be flowing there. So that's what I noticed, the difference from the Titans game to the game on the weekend against the Broncos. And I think that just suits you guys so perfectly, especially the game plan you guys are playing of backing your defense, kicking high just to get them pinned down in that corner. You're really just setting it up to make sure that your attack is on point and you're playing eyes up footy. And that's great. You know, you got your structure there and the structure is great, but sometimes you need that flair of Tamari Martin to look up and see a guy defending out of position and attack that. And he's playing flat, ball in hand, straight off the bat, bang, go. And that's what you did on the weekend. And that's the difference that you had from last week to this week. And it showed in the result. So, shout out to Tamari. You know, he's still fairly young. And he's got a big future now. So, It's coming into his prime. I told you, halfbacks go around that 27, 28.
Yeah, they do. They grow an extra leg. And you remember, like, I'm pretty sure I remember when he first came into the competition with the Panthers and the amount of chat that was around him. There was so much hype over him saying he's the next Benji Marshall at Penrith. And his running game was always the thing that everyone was pointing out. Like, he was the running game. I think in that first year he had debuted, I think he ended up making a Kiwis tour too. Like, he had that much hype over him. And then obviously injuries hampered him. He went to the Cowboys, and the big injury with the head trauma, like, hampered his career overall. But it's good to see him get back and playing amazing football and growing into a halfback that a lot of people probably believed early on, but probably more so they were saying he's a running more halfback. But now he's like just stringing things together so nicely. Like, it's really, really good to see. And shout out to Tamai, like, to come back from a brain bleed and all that to do this, incredible.
Yeah, outstanding, man. Outstanding.
All right, moving on to the next game of the weekend, the Knights versus the Eels. This was probably, honestly, like, the best game, the most entertaining game of the weekend, I reckon. Like, just the amount of tries are in this game. Yeah, 6 tries to 5. Mitchell Moses coming back off Origin, wheeling and dealing for the Eels. But you look on the other edge, Greggy Marju, Brady Best, Will Price, like, you know, a lot of really, really good. Yeah, Tyrone in the chat, bro. Shout out, Tyrone.
Of course.
But yeah, bro, like, what were your thoughts overall in this game here? The Newcastle Knights just getting over the top of the Parramatta Eels. You know, Jackson Hastings, I thought, had a solid game. Will Price was really, really solid as well. Comparatively to the Eels, like, what was the difference in two sides in this matchup here?
Oh, look, it was just at the end of the day who scored more tries. I think it was really back and forth as we've seen. And Brandon Best really broke the game open, scoring 2 runaways, and it really just broke their hearts. As you've seen, every time he did, there was not many people chasing him, especially on that last one. It's like they all just stopped and let him go. You know, he was just gone, and there was not a Parramatta player in sight chasing. And sure enough, you know, they worked hard. Their season's done. They're on the bottom of the ladder, so the fight's not really there. But yeah, shout out to the Knights for sure. But yeah, Brandon Best, Greg Marju, those guys just eating up the meters, really starting their sets off well. And then, you know, Will Price showed a bit of the hype is real. So they're always tough at Newcastle at home. You know, they're very tough. So, and now, you know, KP back this week. Don't be surprised if they make a bit of a run like they did last year.
It's looking very, very similar to that, isn't it?
Yeah, very similar. Very, very similar. He'll get Daly M again as well. You watch.
Bro, that run in home, honestly, bro, it's looking so similar. And then, like, as you said, like that, but that left side's just going to grow another leg, you know what I mean? Having Brandon Best, Greggy Marju on that left side. If you got those boys for Super Coach with KP coming back, it's going to be big dollars there. But not too much else really I wanted to touch on with this game. We spoke a lot about Mitchell Moses and all that, but anything else you really want to touch on with this one? Like, I felt like it was just free flowing. If you wanted to watch it, it was like one of those ones. But Newcastle at Newcastle, Parramatta this week at CommBank, they grow an arm and a leg at CommBank. It's just like home field advantage sometimes is that little bit extra. And coming into this one, the Melbourne Storm getting the win over the Raiders at Amy Park. Again, a team that's so tough to beat at Amy Park, but the Raiders turned up and they were ready to go at him. Really, really wasn't the best game to watch overall. Like, it was grindy, a lot of errors. But Melbourne Storm just continued just doing Melbourne Storm things, right?
Yeah, I thought the first stint from Nelson was actually incredible, and I didn't mention him at all in potential player of the week, but yeah, he was outstanding. You know, Canberra always have that big physical pack. They want to make it dirty. Man, he bent the line in every touch. He was having some sets 2 touches a set. Man, he was incredible from what I remember watching from that game. But again, it's just Melbourne doing Melbourne things. And, you know, Jerome Hughes, man, if to me at the moment at this stage, if he doesn't take out the Daily M just from this point back, what we've already played, man, there needs to be an investigation because he's been insane. He's doing it with no help really from, you know, Harry Grant. He hasn't had his best season and he's been out with Origin, in, out. You know, Pappy's only just gotten back. Cam Munster's not there. You know, Tyrone Wishart as well. Shout out. He's been great. But Jerome Hughes, man, he's really owned that team. And definitely a candidate for Daily M Player of the Year.
Yeah, bro. 100%. And like, just as you said, like I was looking at Nelson's numbers there too, like 176 meters or whatever in this game, just 20 runs. Like, He got through his work in that first big stint there, and from memory, yeah, he's just the type of guy that you can put on and he can just break a game open if he really needs to. He has that in him. He's definitely hadn't had his best season this season with the Melbourne Storm, with a lot of contract talks with him at the moment too, and all that. But just the Melbourne Storm, bro, they just find a way. Like, I thought the Raiders were really stern defensively. They were really holding him out, as the Raiders do against Melbourne. Like, they just love playing against Melbourne. They love making that a contest. But really, the errors from the Raiders really held them back in this game. I thought a really good performance there too. KO Weeks at fullback, I thought he was really solid as well. Speed, bro. Speed. The way he burnt Su'a on the outside, like,
second gear gone. Like, that's incredible. You know, he had a bit of a rough performance as well at the back, you could say, with the hard ball. Yeah. But other than that, man, the hard work he did and, you know, that try, yeah, he played great, other than the couple of errors from the high ball. But leave him in the halves, Ricky. He's been playing great at halves for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Moving on to the next game, the first game on the Sunday, which was the Dragons versus the Dolphins. This game here was a nail-biter to start off with. It was kind of back and forth. I felt like the Dragons found a little bit of ascendancy late into that half, even though going to halftime 6-2. So yeah, 6-2 in this one. The sin bin, obviously, with the Dolphins probably changed a little bit of this game as well. But for the Dragons, 5 tries to 1. They came home really, really strong. And Benny Hart, wheeling and dealing. You got, you know, I thought Jack DeBellin was great through the middle. He's just really direct and he's running at the moment. He's a big leader in that forward pack. Raymond Faitala-Mariner. Christian Tuipulotu is someone I want to talk about a little bit too. He's had a lot of talent that came from Manly. He had probably one of his better games in the Red V in this one. Like, It's really good to see the Dragons have someone like him, especially when someone like Zach Lomax is leaving. And I don't think Zach Lomax played in this game from memory either. So
no,
big win, no Zach Lomax. What are your thoughts on the Dragons?
Well, touching on that young fella, man, he actually got the spot over Matthew Faige, which is crazy because, you know, he hadn't had that spot, but Lomax returning this week, they actually dropped Matthew and kept Christian. So that is actually, credit to the performance he put in on the weekend and really earned that jersey. And he's been rewarded with it again this week. But as for the rest of the game, I guess the Dragons they had more miles in their leg, you know. I've been saying it for a while about the Dolphins forward pack. They're aging. They're a bit older. They're a bit slower. And it just really showed on the weekend with that big physical pack of the Dragons, really just made them work, and especially made their halves work with their back rowers running at them, targeting them. And they just looked buggered when it come to attack. And that showed because the Dolphins, man, they have a lot of points in them. And to only be limited to 6 points, it really just shows the credit that, you know, Flanagan had that game plan for his back rowers to really work over the halves and make them tackle a lot. And then it really showed with the performance that the Dolphins, unfortunately, couldn't get their attack together. So, yeah, great game plan from the Dragons, if you ask me.
Yeah, they've been really, really solid this season. Fairly inconsistent in moments for the Dragons and that, but what you do know is that on their day, they can turn up and they can really put a contest on like majority of the teams in this competition. They've already had a scalp over the Panthers this season and that. They've beaten us. You know, you guys had a really good game against them, but before the injury and the sin bin from memory, wasn't it? You guys, that's when you just took over and blew them out. But in that first half of that game was really back and forth, and I thought the Dragons were really holding into a contest there. As you said, their forward pack's big, strong, mobile. Their edge back rollers, they use them so effectively. Probably some of the best, like, you know, watching how Fleno uses, like, as I said before, Raymond Faitala-Mariner, that's got a really nice offload on him. They get him to punch his nose through the line and have Tyrell Sloan just punching in for like support play, and he just finds these tries left, right, and center. And Tyrell Sloan, shout out to him. He's having one of his, like, he's from a guy that has a lot of inconsistency. He's slowly growing into this fullback that, like, everyone's kind of seeing and really hoping he can become, because he's got a ton of talent, right?
Yeah, I agree, man. It's not just the flashy stuff anymore. He's doing the harder work now as well, which is what you really like to see in development of the fullbacks game these days. So shout out to him as well.
Yeah, shout out, my man, shout out. And then we're moving on to the Panthers and the Cowboys, probably one of the most surprising games of the weekend. The Cowboys getting it done over the Panthers, 16-6 at Bluebet Stadium at Penrith. Obviously, not a lot of Origin players playing in this game. I think the only backup was for the Panthers was Isaiah Yeo. from memory. With the Cowboys pretty much not playing any of their origin stars from memory, right? Just want to double check so I'm right. Yep, they pretty much, Harrison Edwards at number 9, Jake Clifford and Chatty Townsend in the halves pairing, and they get it done over the Penrith Panthers. That's a big ask for them. But what were your thoughts overall with the Cowboys in this lineup? They had 2 sin bins. There was like an 8-3 penalty count, 8-2 penalty count at one point. Like, they had a lot of things not go their way, and they still found a way.
Yeah, they just kept showing up. I thought, Drinkwater, Townsend, and Clifford did a really good job at composing their team. Even when they were short. I know I know Drinkwater ended up in the bin as well. But yeah, looking at both lineups on paper, I didn't know who to give the edge to. I thought, the engine room of the Panthers still would have got the job done, but the Cowboys did a really good credit to really stop them and halt that momentum. So, and I think that happened with the benches. The Cowboys came over the top with them once their bench came on, once Fisher Harris's job was done. But yeah, really low scoring game. I did have a slight feeling as I was watching the preview for the game before it kicked off that the Cowboys might be able to pull something out. But, it's just so hard to beat Penrith despite who's playing. So, good performance from the Cowboys for sure. And I thought the Panthers might have just been a bit off. Dane Laurie, great though. Outstanding.
He's still unbelievable in a losing side. Like, his stats are unreal. But a guy I want to touch on a little bit, this guy has a ton of future as well. Jackson Purdue, he was playing in the Maroons under-19s, played in this game. The speed he has, the burn. But again, he's got that confidence as a young kid that's coming through. A lot of these young kids coming up have got that confidence when they touch first grade. They seem to do very, very, very well. I thought he had a really, really good performance. And Braden Burns, another one that's bounced around club to club to club. He has these performances in him where he can look like he can be untouchable in moments. Like, he breaks tackles really well. He finds his front. Like, attacking wise, really, really good. I think defensively is the only area he usually does lack. Like, you had him at the Doggies. Like, if you watched a lot of Braden Burns like lately, like what were your thoughts at the Doggies and to what he plays sort of now?
He's got the build, man, to really be a good center, I believe. But like you said, defensive problems, so the wing's probably a bit more suited for him until he can address those. But yeah, he's been in some good form on that left wing, filling in for Tuolangi being out. So it's good to see him find some form. I like seeing guys that bounce around from club to club, find a bit of a home, find a bit of form, and really cement their spot in first grade. So, and I think he'll be able to do that despite Tuolangi coming back from Queensland. So might push him back to a center role potentially, but hopefully can clear up those defensive issues and continue to hold that spot for the Cowboys, man. I think he's been great.
100%. And we'll touch on the last game of the round here, guys. The Roosters versus the West Tigers. An absolute blowout with the Roosters. I thought the Tigers started like they were going to be in the contest, but the Roosters just a class to have across the park. Like, Dominic Young getting a double. Tyrell May just continues to fight in the try line for a big body. He's been going guns at the moment. He's unreal. Daniel Tupou getting over a double. Victor Radley getting over. James Tedesco adding to it as well. Just top to bottom, the Roosters, too classy. Like, what were your thoughts there overall with the Roosters? Would you feel bad as a Tigers fan or just throw this in the bin, move on?
Standard. That's what you're going to cop if you don't show up against the Roosters. They've got so many points in them. It's as simple as that. So it's hard to beat that team on paper and then to show up and actually physically stop, not just their halves pairing, but then their center roles as well. And then Teddy at the back. It's an incredible team, man, on paper, and they're going to be hard to stop. They really will be. So salary cap cheeks, but we won't go there.
When I got Sammy Walker playing flat off the ruck, bro, like, it's just, man, like the speed he has, he always beats that first defender, gets on the outside, and it just bang, it's just numbers from there. He uses his edge back rollers perfectly, but even in defense now, having Victor Radley outside of him helps him so much. Like, Victor is his bodyguard at the moment. He's like the Tony Carroll to his Darren Lockyer at the moment. So it's massive for him to be that move there. And it's really the shifting of the game plan has opened up the Roosters completely. Like, they aren't playing very conventional of what a lot of teams got used to now of having the 13 being the link man. Now the 13 is usually, now it's another prop. Like, they threw Nathaniel White usually plays there. Connor Watson played there at the weekend too. Like, he's played moments there as well. I think coming into this weekend, he's playing there as well. But they're just playing flat off the ruck, and it's really, really damaging, especially with the power they have through the middle. They get their front foot, the momentum, and then have off the back of that Sam Walker, Joey, Manu, like all these guys, like just incredible. But yeah, we may as well move on to add on top of that. Angus Crichton, brother, signs on with the Roosters.
100%.
$800K for a year. So big news there for Angus Crichton, bro. What's your thoughts overall on his season? Overall, like, he's been unbelievable, right? Like, he's
Yeah,
gotten back
man.
into form. Freak.
Yeah, once he's got off those shrooms, bro, he's come back to his form, and he's found the old Angus Crichton, man. He's been playing outstanding, and he well deserves that. You know, he could have really just, you know, chucked his dummy out of his cart and had a sook when they tried to sign David Fifita, and then, you know, looked around for another club. But, you know, he stuck strong. He stuck to his footy. He's going to reap the rewards of the paycheck, and he's going to be the main man moving forward. Yeah, 100%. Credit to him. It showed it in Origin. He's proving it for the Roosters, and, you know, he'll prove it for Australia again at the end of the year. Just incredible. He's incredible, man. He's the back rower of the competition this year, and he has been in previous years. So it's good to see him get back to that form. And he's still only so young. Young.
It's crazy, right? Like, what, he's won a premiership early on in his career with the Rabbitohs, and was he in the back-to-back years of the Roosters there too, or did he come just after? I think he was in the back-to-back years there from memory.
Oh, I think he might have came after, brother.
Yeah, he might have come after. Yeah, but even then, like, he's already won a premiership there for so young, and he's already been touted as one of the best, like, edge back rollers in the competition. And while we touch on that, bro, a little segment for you guys. We're going to do more little things like this in the future, but top 5. We're going to go top 5 back rollers in the competition currently right now in 2024. Who is your top 5 edge back rollers in the competition right now? 5 to 1.
5 to 1.
Yep, 5 to 1.
So I'm going to go with Briton Nikora. He's finally starting to show some form to prove that, you know, he still is that dominant back rower this year. So I'm going to go with Briton Nikora. I'm going to go with David Fifita. I'm going to go with Liam Martin, and then Ali Katoa at number 2, and Angus Crichton is number 1 this year. And then just outside of those 5, it had to be Kikau, Nanai, and Olakau'atu is right there. But that top 5 for me, yeah, can't go past them. How about yourself?
Yeah, I had Ola in and around, but, like, I pushed him. Like, Briton Nikora has stepped up for me again. Like, he's my number 5. I had Liam Martin number 4. I felt like, you know, he stepped up in massive games this year, but as a season standard, he hasn't been, like, top-notch this season. He's still been great, but he hasn't been top-notch there. Dave Fifita just edged him for me, but, like, again, you could go back and forth too. Both not been in, like, career best form or anything, like, close to that. But just Dave Fifita at the moment is really finding his form with the Titans and really showing that he could get for an Origin jersey there too. So Dave Fifita, number 3. Eli Katoa has got to be number 2 for me. The change from Eli Katoa is such a big story. Like, from what he was at the Warriors, just a talented, athletic back rower that could be anything. Goes to the Melbourne 100%. Storm, and he does all the little things so right. Hey, like, the effort areas in his game is incredible. So he's got to be number 2 for me. And Gus Bus, bro. Angus Crichton, number 1, bro. We're going Gus Bus at number 1. Has to be this
Bus,
year,
is
right?
Is that his new nickname? All right, I like
Gus Bus, bro. Get on the Gus Bus, baby.
All right. I seen Lord Fuckbod before in the chat, in the comments. I thought that was a good one.
Don't you? Yeah, Lord Fuckwad. Can't get that out of my head right now, man. A fairly similar top 5 though, right? Like, Briton Nikora, he has to be there or thereabouts.
Well, same 5,
Liam
just
Martin.
different order, I guess.
Yeah. This is incredible. Like, Eli Katoa, like, fairly similar. Like, I thought there was going to be a couple of different ones here, but again, 5 to 1. I think that's, like, everyone's 5 to 1, wouldn't you reckon?
It'd be roughly around the same. And as I said, you know, you got those other guys there. Kikau starting to find form again. Nanai and Olakau'atu, they're the guys that are just on the schemes of things there. I feel like in a team that still struggles, Elliot Whitehead has been great, but, you know, he's more that top 10 this year.
Yeah,
playing all right. Yeah. But top 5 is pretty streaks above the rest, in my opinion.
Yeah. Have you got any future edge back rollers you're looking at? Like, you know, we spoke about Jeremiah Nanai, you had put his name up, but that's what I was going to say. Like, what limit do you reckon you have on him? Like, he could be an Origin player for me, but what were your thoughts on him?
Well, let's roll it into the same with the Sully signing. I really think that he's going to be forced to play a middle role,
Yep.
Tupouniua, for the simple fact that we got Jacob Preston there, and if we hold on to that, man, he's incredible. Jacob Preston, I don't know who to compare him to right now that we've seen before, but he's a freak. I think
Yeah.
he's great. His work ethic is insane defensively and attack. He loves a good hole.
Yep.
He can score a
Yep.
try. And he's
Yep.
just so young, man. He's got so much to learn. Pairing him up with Kikau is just incredible for our future. So he's definitely a young one that I like the looks of coming through. Brendan Piacora, if he can fix up his defensive issues, I think he's a talent to watch in that back row going forward. And then there's a few Warriors boys that you'll show me in the New South Wales Cup that I definitely think are a talent on their way through. But yeah, how about yourself? What do you think about back rows coming through, and Preston especially? We've both had big raps on him since the second he stepped on the field.
Yeah, 100%. Like, we first noticed him in that trial game for the Doggies, and that we just noticed that, like, he got through the amount of work that he got through, and he just seemed like a guy that was it last year, out of your whole team, like, he was always in every game. He was working hard. Got a little bit of the Angus Crichton to him, like, the high work rate and stuff like that. Hits a really nice line. Loves a kick, like kicking behind. He will chase a good kick in behind and all that. Like, it's all the work rate areas that I'm really impressed about him, because a lot of the best edge back rows coming through the competition right now are very athletic freaks that like Jeremiah Nenais, the Helam Lukis, those sort of boys and stuff. But what Presto has over them is just that work rate. He's going to go for 80. He's going to put in a massive shift for you. He's going to get through his tackles, but he won't let you down either. Unfortunately, injury is the only thing that's really held him back at the moment, especially this year. But when he gets there, bro, I think he's going to be incredible for the future. For guys that I'm really watching coming up through, like Helam Luki and all that, but like Finnair Fuyaki, that's going to go to the Dolphins. They're going to pair him up with Connolly Lemuelu. I think those boys are going to be incredible as a pairing in the future. Other ones, again, like, those Warriors boys you want to talk about, bro, like, man, Leka Halasima is someone that I cannot wait for. Again, like, I always bring him up, but I don't want to overhype him yet either. But he's someone that I just think that as soon as he touches grade, he can show his aggression and all that, but he always seems to be in a game. He always has a big game-breaking moment in Cup. I feel like he could do very similar things in NRL. So he's definitely a name to watch out for that's playing up in Cup. You got a guy in the Doggies that I watch a lot too, Galtonga. I rate him defensively. Like, he just puts hits on left, right, and center. And another guy like with the Roosters, Sua Wong, who end up getting played more so for the middle, but on an edge, bro, he's one of the better edge players, in New South Wales Cup. And when he stepped up, he was incredible there too. So he's got a massive future in himself. But
yeah, I agree. I think he'll shop around and maybe find himself at a different club and being a main man. So I like that. That's a good shout out.
And talking about the Roosters and shopping around, bro, Chatty Townsend, he's not going to the Doggies.
Oh, bro, I'm so happy about that.
He's going to the Roosters, 300K 1 year deal, bro. What's your thoughts on that deal? Very interesting one if they were thinking about starting him, but if he's probably in more of experienced play, what's your thoughts?
I heard he's a big Roosters guy. But look, maybe he likes to surf in Bondi. I don't know. But no, look, Townsend, man, maybe it is just a development thing. A backup. They always had that backup of Drew Hutchison there. So potentially, it's to develop, Sandon Smith a little bit more coming through, potentially. But yeah, I think they run with Sam Walker. They've still got Connor Watson that could do a job there with Kiri leaving next year. So yeah, Townsend's probably just to plug a hole. 300K, it's not bad, I guess. It's fairly cheap for a guy that's won a premiership at halfback. He's still got a lot to learn. He still can learn a lot off someone like Chad Townsend. Yeah, not a bad signing. I didn't want him only just because we're a team trying to develop. We're not a team that's already there like the Roosters. He's trying to do the Cooper Cronk, maybe. Hey, he might get a ring out of it. You never know. We could be laughing, he might get a ring out of it. So, but yeah, no, look, I'm glad he didn't go to the Doggies. That's all I can say.
It's interesting, the Roosters, some of their signing or like potential trying to signs this season comparatively to years past. Like, You know, the Dave Fafita is probably the biggest one out of a lot, and that nearly put Angus Crichton out of joint as well. But like they end up getting him, which is a good sign in that. But it just feels like the Roosters wheeling and dealing this season hasn't been the same as Roosters in past. Like for them to go out and sign Chad Townsend, I know they put their hat in the ring for Shawnee Johnson as well. They offered him actually pretty big money to go over there when they got Sammy Walker developing really nicely. And I really do feel like if they even run with like a Sammy Walker, Connor Watson, Sammy Walker, Sandon Smith, like there's a lot of other halves pairing I probably would prefer that if they were to look at even Chad Townsend and Sammy Walker. I just don't think that would work very similar ways to what Luke Keary and Sammy Walker weren't working to start with. So, but again, I could eat my words at the end of this. He could be just an experienced player, as you did touch on before, just to show these young boys like a little bit more like what you do, where you go and all that. But again, like I just feel like the big holes that they're starting to miss now is outside backs, their center positions and stuff. When they got Joey Manu leaving, Joseph Suoli'i leaving, Billy Smith just seems to be coming down with injuries left, right, and center as he does to start like, you know, his career. You know, Daniel Tupou was nearly leaving at one point. Dominic Young will stay there, but even if you look at the team list for the weekend, they got Michael Jennings and I'm pretty sure Satili Tupanoa is lining up on a center position there too.
Again,
like,
yeah.
It feels like they should be hunting for a really good center, and that's one thing I'm waiting for is who's the name they're going to chase and who they're going to pick up, because it just doesn't feel like the same Roosters wheeling and dealing as years past.
No, I completely agree with you. And we know that they're not going to develop anyone, let's be real with it. So, yeah, I don't know. They should really probably chase a center instead of, like you said, an outside back instead of guys that they don't really need, like Chad Townsend. You know, I could be wrong. But yeah, I feel like they needed to really chase a center position role. I know Selwyn Cobbo was on the market, and I thought potentially he was going to sign with them. I don't know if he did re-sign with the Broncos yet, though. I don't know if that news came out. But yeah, he potentially could be one that they chase. So it wouldn't surprise me being the Roosters brother. As you said, though, the feeling isn't there as much as in previous years, especially with the big ones that we know are leaving for them. I'm surprised that a big center position role hasn't been rolled out yet. So that's very interesting, the way they're handling it this year.
Yeah, it's just a really interesting year for the Roosters at the moment. And like the storylines are all there for them to win the premiership this year. But to go back to back or anything like that does seem like a long ways away when all those experienced key players filter out of that squad and they're left with the bare bones where they've just got to rebuild again. Like they got a couple of nice juniors there, Robert Toya for a center and that can do a good job. And their front row, like their forward pack coming up, like Xavier Va'a, like the Va'a boys, they're down there. They're incredible as well. But again, yeah, usually the Roosters, as you said, like they're just known to just poach people left, right, and center, not usually known for developing anyone from underneath. So I'm waiting to see what really happens. And to even like, I couldn't even think. Tony Staggs, has he extended his deal with the Broncos? Because he could, not to say he's going to be a massive signing for him, but obviously New South Wales boy, would he be a guy that they could entice down?
I'm pretty sure he signed last year when they decided to keep him over Herbie. I'm pretty sure he signed. I think it was Selwyn that was off this year. And Jazzy, I'll do the Bo Ryan doggies when we beat your Wars this week, all right, brother? Tune in next week.
Channel, Brody.
Hey, yes, brother.
So yeah, he is signed to the end of 2025. So it would have to be a contract breaking. And Cobbo, I think Cobbo's around about there too. So still, we know the Roosters can wheel and deal. I don't know too many other big centers on the market they could be chasing and stuff, but yeah, again, it just doesn't feel like the same sort of season there.
Will Penasini might be one in the future, especially if Lomax is going to the Eels to play center. I would chase Penasini. He's a talent.
Penasini definitely could be one, especially as Zach Lomax gone to the Eels. Oh, I love that from the boys. But you got a nice little segment you got for me, my brother. Run it out. I do. Overrated, underrated, fairly rated. What do you reckon?
Yeah. So I've got a couple of listed players here. I know you're a big stats guy and you like to get all your notes prepared. So I want to put you on the spot and I want you to be brutal with them as well and not hold back and be like, oh, you know, like he's going alrighty. No, fuck that. Just tell me if they're overrated, bro. They're overrated. So we'll kickstart it, bro. Speaking of centers, we're going to start with Tony Staggs. How do you think he's faring out this year?
Overrated this season. I'd say
Overrated.
like overrated if you're thinking that he's a state of origin caliber center, which is what he's been put into the limelight as. I would say there's a lot of centers that are ahead of him in his position. And I'm sure another name will get picked out there too that I feel like are both in the overrated scale. If you're going to think of like, I got to stick with overrated. You can't sugarcoat it. He was a guy that broke out, looked incredible, like his work rate was going to be incredible. He tackled breaks, that sort of stuff, but you just haven't seen the same Tony Staggs in the last couple of years. And defensively, he started to really find cracks as well. Like we attacked that edge on the week and we're finding a lot of defensive lapses down that side. So overrated for me.
I like it. Jared Waerea-Hargreaves.
Underrated for sure.
Underrated.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Experience.
I would say fairly rated for Jared. I was leaning towards over, but I'll say fairly. But I like it.
Yeah. I think like Kiwi captain.
Oh, sorry.
What is that? Yeah, Kiwi captain, set standards. I think that's a big thing. I think the reason why the Roosters, they have a fairly good joint around there, like the group that comes together, I think it all comes from Waerea-Hargreaves and what he sets. And I feel like we're going to see a big drop off there. I think Lindsay Collins can carry that. But I just think the difference between Lindsay and Hargreaves is a talker as well. He'll look people directly in the eyes and say, shut the fuck up, get behind me, and we'll do this.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they have that. Other than Spencer, I think Spencer was a key signing there for him to carry on that sort of mold. But yeah, that's why I think he's an underrated player, and I would have loved to have him early on in his career for the Warriors and continue out for us.
I actually agree. That's a really good point. You made me open my eyes different to Jared there. So we're going to roll into Jacob Kiraz.
Oh, underrated at the moment. I feel like the hype is going to start coming his way really, really hard soon because he is very much of the Brian Toto type of mold, which is a winger that a lot of people are chasing these days. Like the work rate out of his back end's incredible. His tackle breakability. As a winger, he's underrated. As a player that's going to be versatile to play, he's played well in the center, but as a fullback, I probably wouldn't say that's his spot anymore. But as a winger, bro, I think he's incredible. He's got a massive future, but there will be a point where there's going to be a ton of hype on him, especially when the doggies go well and the fans can start coming out and, the name will start getting chanted. He will become one of those doggy folklores type of players. So that's when we can start saying fairly rated. Yeah.
I agree. All right, we're going to fly through these. So Isaac Tungo.
Overrated. Yeah. We spoke about this in the backstage.
We did.
Yeah. I feel like defensively he's had these lapses for a long time that got pointed out by me from a family member close by, and me and Brody, we as we usually do, we messaged back and forth, and it was the Storm game last year where before that I've heard Shaq, I've had chats with my missus cousin Ishak, and I was like, Isaac Tungo, and that he goes, overrated, bro. Like you got to really watch Isaac Tungo, and his defensive lapses are really, really poor at the moment. And it's really leaking a lot of points down their edge. And even though the Panthers are still doing well with that, but still for the player that is he's $800K worth now.
They're talking about him being coming in, biggest paid center. I don't know how showing it. He's got a bit of a free ride in my opinion. So
It's quite easy to overhype a player from the Panthers that the system creates the player so well. Look at the halves that have come out of that Panthers system, the backup halves from Cleary, like Sean O'Sullivan going to the Dolphins, had a good first little bit of the year, but we knew Sean O'Sullivan from the Warriors, multiple other clubs he's been to. He's just not that guy. Jack Cogger's another one. The Knights have really bit the bullet on him, saying that he's going to be good enough for them going forward. He hasn't tasted first grade again for a while. So, the system really makes the player out there at the moment, and overrated 100%. For me.
Jordan Ricky.
I really rate Jordan Ricky. I would say fairly rated because I feel like there is still hype around him. But I think defensively, he is so strong. I think he brings a really hard edge and mentality there. I know he can get on the grubby side of things and stuff, but I feel like that's what the Broncos do need sometimes. He has lost a lot of that, the attacking ability, what he used to have first into grade. That's where everyone noticed him. He was a tackle breaking freak, ran a really sick line. I feel like he's changed his game to a defensive type of player, and I just love that as sort of player. So I would say fairly rated for me, but I can understand a lot of people saying he's probably overrated because he has got a big name up in lights from his early seasons. So I'm going fairly rated.
Yeah, I'm going fairly rated as well. I feel like Adam Reynolds being out has a big impact on his game attacking wise, but yeah, defensive wise, like you touched on, man, he's still talented.
Solid. Yep.
Valentine Holmes.
Ooh, this season alone, or his like career overall? Like this season
His
alone, he's
career.
had
His career.
I'd say fairly rated this overall. If you're
Yep.
saying this year alone, he's been fairly overrated coming into the season with the season that he's had.
Yeah.
But career overall, like he's hit the biggest heights of like, grand final with the Sharkies. He's been incredible with the Cowboys there, playing center. He's definitely having an off year currently right now, especially defensively, but attacking wise, he's still up there and up about. So fairly rated for me. Goal kicking too.
I
He's a
like
great
it.
goal kicker. So I have a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
them.
that's true. Jerome Hughes.
Oh, underrated for sure. Underrated for sure.
Oh.
That guy, like, if he was playing State of Origin, probably would have a ton more hype around him than what he does now.
Yep.
100%.
All right. Reed Marnie.
Underrated. I think that mainly comes from the grub tag. Everyone hates on him because he's the grub and all that, but people don't really see what he does out on a football field. Like they see the missed tackles because he leads the comp. I think he still leads the comp for missed tackles in a comp, but they don't see why he's missing tackles is because he leads the line speed defensively, gets up in people's faces, but also the little slickness that he has. Like he's got one of the best passes out of dummy half. It's like a bullet out of dummy half, get him on the front foot.
Yep.
And he's got the kicking game, the 40-20 he has.
100%.
Like he's a solid hooker, bro. I love him. So underrated.
All right. Chancey.
Underrated still. And this is even by Warriors fans over the weekend, bro. Like I've seen a lot of Warriors fans coming out and saying we need to get rid of Chancey at fullback again. Like people don't understand. Like he was second in the competition right now for overall run meters. Like up there of Dylan Edwards is the only person that's actually competing with him in run meters average this season. And it's Dylan Edwards, like, the amount of run meters he gets. He had like back-to-back games, so like close to 300-meter games. Like he's been incredible for us. And he was incredible at the Raiders too. And the Raiders put him in New South Wales Cup and we got an easy contract off him. So I don't see why, I think the best position is him fullback for the Warriors, 100%.
Yeah, I agree, brother. 100% agree. And then going on to a fullback that I think is definitely overrated in Clint Gutherson.
See, I'm fairly rated with Clint. I see why he's a good footballer. Like I feel like the underrated parts of Clint Gutho is his like positioning. Like he's one of the best positioned fullbacks in the league. He works really hard to get there. He's not the quickest fullback, but you'll probably notice that he always like gobbles the ball. Like he always gets to the right position. He never really finds himself too much out of position. But I would agree to a lot of people say, like, attacking wise, he probably doesn't give off the same amount of threat as probably what he has in years past. And again, the whole mentality of like throwing his hands up, complaining all the time and all that.
Yeah, it really, not a good look.
It's definitely not a good look. And it goes the same for Mitchell Moses. I know that Mitchell Moses is getting loved by a lot of Blues fans and all that, but it's still just, it reminds me of soccer. Like I love soccer, I love football and that, but when you start seeing like players run up to the referee and going, blah, 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 what's going on? It's not what our game was built on. So again,
not what we love.
Fairly rated. Nah.
All right. I'm still saying overrated for Gutho. Like I love his work rate and everything, but he came out wanting more money than $1 million a season. And to me, you're not performing that well. So to me, that's overrated. And maybe that's just the expectations you got on yourself. But Gutho's all right. He would be good at a different club as well if he had a better system. Jesse Arthurs.
Ooh, underrated for sure. I have a massive love for Jesse Arthurs. I think he's incredible.
I agree.
I wish we kept him on that loan deal. I think he would be an incredible center right now, and even a winger, bro. He showed he could show out in big moments too. In the grand final, he was one of the best for the Broncos out there on the football field. So, and he's been sorely missed for him with that broken jaw for that big period there too. So, Jesse Arthur's underrated for sure.
100%, brother. And lastly, Tamare.
Underrated. Just from. He was overrated early on in his career. Like, people thought he was going to be the next best thing and all that. And obviously being hyped that highly as a young kid really holds you back from a lot of like early development. And then I feel like he's done it the hard way, coming back to football with the brain bleed, like all that sort of stuff. He's worked really hard. He's worked in our New South Wales Cup side that I didn't think he had a great cup season, but he stepped up in the first grade side and is just wheeling and dealing, looking incredible. Again, touching on like he's averaging 2 try assists per game, over 2 try assists per game in that 7 jersey. He had 10 try assists in those 4 games for us.
Yeah, that's incredible.
You know, he's just unreal, bro. Like, so shout out to Tomato. The only thing he needs to fix up on is his kicking game. It's still not there. I know a lot of people are like, his kicking's okay. It's not. It's like he still kicks him sometimes on the side of the boot and that. Chanel offers him up with the other side of that. But as an attacking beast, like he's awesome, bro. Underrated for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. And I didn't have this guy on my list, but I actually want to get, there's a lot of hype around this kid, but I feel like he is living up to it, and it's Ethan Strange. What do you think about him at the moment?
Yeah, the hype that's around him, I think he can live up to that. I reckon he'll be around about the Blues camp very, very, like not, I'd say it's going to be tough too with Jerome Lua and all that around about the traps, but the way he's playing football, he looks like a Blues origin type player. He reminds me a lot of Jack Whiten. Like it just it runs hard, tackles hard. He's got a beautiful left foot step, the dummy to go. The only thing is like defensively, but he's such a young body. Like what's he like 18, 19, bro? And
he's only young now.
He's stepping up. So he's underrated. Yeah, I can see him hitting the heights of like playing Origin Blues. The only thing is like he's getting a lot of rate at the moment to where I've like fairly rated yet.
Yeah, fairly rated for sure.
As a career, like at the moment, I think he'll grow into something special. So that's why I sway to him a little bit underrated. But if the hype keeps going, fairly rated.
I like it. Well, thank you, brother. I like you.
It's a good little segment. It's a good little segment. I love those ones. You just pop out of nowhere, and we're just gonna back and forth our thoughts overall on some players and stuff. And you don't just see my mumbo jumbo of stats everywhere. You get to see
no research, what I
see as a footballer.
You get to see us raw.
Raw. Hey, this podcast is going to sound a type of word, bro. We might listen.
Hey, there'll be an 18+ link after, all right?
OnlyFans link, brother. Get on a Patreon. All right, my man. Let's run through the games of the weekend. This runs through our Punters Paradise too, guys. Before I jump to the Punters Paradise, please make sure you gamble responsibly out there. We will be putting our bets, talking about our bets for the weekend too, guys. So I do want to preface that. Last week's tips. Do you have last week's tips and how you went last week there, my brother?
No, I don't. I think looking back at it, it was only, I got the Doggies. I didn't go the Wars. I didn't go the Knights. I went the Storm, so that's 2. I didn't go the Dragons. I didn't go the Cowboys. And I went the Roosters. So I got 3. And I think you went the Dragons. I think you went the Warriors.
Yep.
And I think that was... you went the Sharks, though.
Yeah, I went the Sharks.
And so I think you got 4.
Yep. So not too much better. The Dragons was a 50-50 game, eh? We were really going back and forth either way there. So hopefully this week we'll get up there for you guys, all your tips of the weekend. So we may as well run through them. First game of the weekend, we got the Eels versus the Rabbitohs at CommBank Stadium. This is what I was talking about before, home field advantage. For the Parramatta Eels, they had their best games at CommBank. Is it good enough to get over the Rabbits that are in fine form at the moment? They got their Origin players back. Latrell is back out back. What's your thoughts on this game? Do you reckon the Parramatta Eels can get over the top of the Rabbitohs in this one at CommBank?
No, I think the Rabbits will get the job done, especially with Sivo out. So he starts the sets really well for the Eels, and he's got a trial 2 up his sleeve. So with him being out, I'm going to lean towards the Rabbits to continue to ride that momentum. So I'm going with the Rabbits. And for my value bet on one of my value bets for the week. Oh, do you want to roll into that later, or you want to go through
roll into it now, bro. We'll go
roll into it. All right. So my value bet for this game is Blaze Tuolangi, anytime try scorer, Alex Johnston, anytime try scorer, and then both of them together to combine for 3 tries, and that's paying $13. So we haven't seen an AJ double for a while, so I feel like they're both going to leak a lot of points. Hopefully it's a bit dry. And we'll see some free-flowing footy. So I really think that's probably my best bet of the week for sure.
Yeah, I think with Latrell back, wheeling, dealing, the confidence he would have got out of Origin too. I'm expecting him to go out there and have another impressive performance. good to see Cody Walker still in that halfback jersey with Jack White, and that combination will just continue to grow for the future there too. And just, Cody Walker playing every bit of the field at the moment. Like, he's in fine form. I think he's going to be really tough to stop. Parramatta, I think, will make it really, really close. So if I was looking at it, I'll probably, what's the line on that currently right now? I think it would be fairly close line. So
fairly
probably
close. I think it's like 4.5 or something.
Yeah, so you probably go maybe the Rabbits just on a line there, but I think a 1-12 sort of win there. I don't know if they'll be able to blow them out because at CommBank, the Parramatta Eels seem to always play their best football at CommBank. It just seems to be one of those places. So, that's what I'm thinking.
Who are you going with?
I'm going with the Rabbitohs, brother. We're going with the Rabbitohs.
Rabbits? All right, I like it.
We're going Rabbits. All right, next game of the weekend, we've got the Sharks versus the Titans at Coffs Harbour. And from memory, I think the Sharks, were they unbeaten at Coffs Harbour? They have a mental record there from memory. I don't have the stat on me right now, but even then, Sione Katoa is out for this game, so Daniel Atkinson comes in on the wing there with the Titans. No Jaden Campbell due to a hand injury. I think he's out for a couple of weeks. I think he broke his hand against the Warriors, which makes that performance, bro, incredible, right? So AJ Brimson comes back into that 6 jersey there. Do you think the combination of Foran and AJ will be able to help him over the Sharkies that obviously dropped a game to you guys last week? Do you reckon the Sharkies will come in this one and really put it against the Titans?
Yeah, well, I heard Jaden Campbell broke his hand. I think it was on his 20th tackle break for the game or something against the Warriors. So I don't blame him, fending off that much, brother. In all seriousness, look, AJ back is just as good as Jaden Campbell in that 6 role. So, but I don't think it'll be enough. The Sharks will want to bounce back. Record or not, it's still in Sydney. I think they'll put a bit of a cricket score on the Titans. And my multi for this one is Nico Hines. Anytime try scorer, he'll bounce back. He'll have a outstanding performance. Ronaldo anytime, and I'm going to put AKP to snag a try, and that's $12. That's not going a winner. That's just 3 try scorers. So, but yeah, Sharks 13+ for me.
I love that one, bro. I love that one. Make sure you send that one for me soon too, a little bit later on. I'll jump on that one with you. With the Sharkies, I love the look at Thomas Hazelton starting at prop in this one. I feel like his minutes have been limited due to obviously Toby Rudolph coming back. So I do like that, especially for me in Supercoach, because I still got Thomas Hazelton and he's been dropping a little bit of coin at the moment. It's all about Supercoach, bro. But just looking at the 2 forward packs, I just see the meter eaters of like the Sharkies comparatively to the Titans. Like Aaron Clark's incredible for the middle, but still a smaller body in that. Mo Fotuaika back in that starting lineup for the Titans there. Chrissy Randall in that lock position, which I do rate as well. But looking at Thomas Hazelton, Oregon Kafusi, Sifa Talakai, like some of these boys can roll through the middle, like Royce Hunt coming off the bench, even Teague Wilton back again. So really, really good to see there. I think the Sharkies will get it done, and I think it could be a 13-pluser here. I know the Titans have been running high off our victory and all that. I just think that the Sharkies losing the game last week, Nico Hines, something to prove out there to the media. I think he's going to have a blinder. So I'm going to go the Sharkies 13+ at Coffs Harbour, I reckon.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, moving on to a massive game for the Broncos here. The Broncos versus the Panthers at Suncorp Stadium. Notable team list names here. You got all the Origin players back for the Brisbane Broncos. Reece Walsh. You got obviously Selwyn Cobbo played last week in that, but still, Payne Haas. You got Paddy Carrigan up against the Panthers team that get all their Origin players back as well. So Jerome Luai, Brian To'o. Your thoughts? Do the Broncos go on another loss here and go on even worse of a losing streak than what they had before? Or do you reckon the Broncos can pull it out of the fire with Reece Walsh, Paddy Carrigan back in their lineup at Suncorp Stadium?
I was going back and forth on this one a lot. Both teams coming off losses. We'd hardly ever see Penrith lose back-to-back. I still think, Penrith are going to have the advantage in the halves with the way that Luai has been playing and really getting his team around the park. But, with Reece Walsh back, I really feel like he's going to target that Tungo on that left-hand side. The Broncos are desperate. It's at Suncorp. Cobbo is going to want a big game, and I really feel like he's going to play all over Isaac Tungo. So I'm going to go the Broncos, believe it or not, and I'm going to go Cobbo to score anytime.
Cobbo for Origin. That's a really good one. What's Cobbo at? He is at $2.85. Like, yeah, that's nice, especially on that right edge. The winger that would be with him on that side would probably be Corey Oates from memory. Dean Mariner's still
Corey
in that
Oates.
lineup.
Yep.
Or is it? Yeah, Jesse Arthur's on the other
Dean
side
Mariner's
usually too. So
yeah.
he's in the centers. Yeah. That's an
Yeah.
interesting look. Dean Mariner actually played a lot of his better footy in Q Cup in the centers. So it'd be really interesting to see him in there. Any type try scorer that I like, I want to see the odds for him there too. Liam Martin at 410, running at Ezra Mem. That's going to be a nice, delicious one there too. So, Jerome Luai playing both sides of the ruck, hit a short ball there with Liam Martin running through. I can see that really happening. 410. That's the way I'm going. So with this one, I'm swaying the way of the Panthers. I'm going with the whole thing of like, it's like the Melbourne Storm. You don't usually see the Melbourne Storm drop back-to-back games sort of thing. But it's so tough because the Broncos are on a slide and they really need to pull something out right now. So whether they have that extra gear to get over the top of the Panthers, but I'm going to go to the Panthers 1-12. I'll just put it on that way at Suncorp Stadium. All right. Big game of the weekend. We got a little segment here for you guys too for this one. We got the Doggies versus the Warriors, brother. The Doggies versus the Warriors. And we may as well run through. We're going to do a combined 13, guys, of the Warriors and the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. So, Brodie, start us off. Again, guys, I want to preface before we go through this, a combined 13 is we're pretty much making the best team possible with both these lineups that we have on paper. So pretty much, we'll select our fullback out of either Connor Tracy or Chance Nickel-Crosstag, or we could go Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. There's a lot of different ways we could really go about it, but we're creating the best lineup out of these two teams here. Brodie, go for your 1-13, my brother. What do you reckon?
All right. So for my combined 1-13, it was great, actually. I felt like it was very split for this team. And, man, on paper, this team, to me, is outstanding. So at fullback, I'm going with Chance Nickel-Crosstag over Connor Tracy. They play very similar games, but I think Chance is a bit more proven at the back role there at the moment. And then I'm going to go Dallin and Karaz on my wings. And then I'm going to go Roger and Critter in my centers. So obviously the Wars pairing there, I'll put Dallin and Roger together, and I'll put Critter and Karaz together. And then my halves, I'm going Matt Burton and Tamare Martin. Up front, I'm going Max King and Adam Fanor-Blake. And at the hooker role, I'm going Reed Marnie, sorry. And then my back rollers, I'm going Kickout and Josh Curran. And in my lock role, I'm going Mitch Barnett.
Ooh, I love what you've done with Mitchie there, because I was waiting for that name. I was like, no way you had Max King over Barnett, but I love Max King as well too. Oh, that's a good one.
I have to get him in there, bro. Max King has been unreal for us for probably, our youngest, one of the younger forwards in that middle pack there, or we're quite a young team, but, he's taken on a real leadership role and really owning that. So I really needed to squeeze those guys in, and I couldn't leave out Josh Curran either. I thought he's been outstanding for us, so.
Yeah, that's top pick there, bro. I'm the same. Chance Nickel-Crosstag is going to be my fallback as well of similar things. I think Connor Tracy's incredible for what he's done this season, but like Chancey's definitely been more proven. I guess for a ton of work rate and that. So we definitely agree there. I do have Karaz as one of my wingers. My other winger is going to be RTS because I wanted to have the center pairing of Bronson Xerri and Critter. I just believe that out of all our centers in the club at the moment, I think Bronson Xerri is playing amazing at the moment. And I think that if we were able to pair him up with Roger Tuivasa-Sheck or Karaz on that side, I'm probably going to go Roger. I reckon he'll get him in some really good spaces. The way he plays the outside, he's got the speed to burn too. And I think speed's something that you just can't buy at the moment. So I think, Xerri's incredible. And Critter, the best right center in the game, bro. You can't go against Critter. So he's got to be there. My halves pairing is going to be Tamare Martin and Matty Burton. Out of all the picks here, I think they're the best two. I think that Berto with the big boot that he has really helps with the floor of Tamare Martin, which is a kicking game. Perfect. And then Tamare Martin, wheeling dealing, bro. He's going to put him in really good places to do his thing like he does with Chanel Harris-Tavita. I just see very similar things, and I'm like, that would be incredible to watch on paper, right?
Perfect team so far.
It'd be really, really good, all right? And then you got Adam Fanor, Blake, and Mitch Barnett up front. And my notable miss was Max King, but it wasn't due to, like, I just think that Mitch Barnett is just that little league above Max King. Like, you know, his aggression, just what he gives to a team of that sort of sense. And Adam Fanor, Blake is probably what you'd have him up there. We'll probably do a top 5 of front row in a competition right now, but I'd have him around about that top 5, bro. Like he's when he's on, he's on. Just need he needs his effort there all the time. In that hooker role, I'm going to go Reed Marnie. I think Reed Marnie's incredible. I think that I love Wade Egan, but I think the injuries of Wade Egan mid-game hampers us a lot. And then when I look at it too, I think that Reed's going to play every second of that game like it's his last, where Wado sometimes, if he can get put out of a game, you don't really see a lot out of him. You know what I mean? Where Reed, you just 100%. See it every game, he's always there.
And he's got grand final experience, you know.
Well, yeah, you know, tell us how that grand final went.
hey, he still got there. He still got there.
My edge back rower pairing, and this one really hurt me because there's going to be a name that I do miss out of this, and it's Marata Niokore and Viliami Kikau. And I just thought of just imagine those two damaging motherfuckers on either edge there. Marata Niokore is great defensively as well, so it's not like you're limiting one for the other. You know what I mean? He's a good defensive edge back rower, but he can still hit a really nice hole. And you look on the other side, Viliami Kikau is going to wheel and deal on that outside. And a notable miss that I have is actually Joshy Curran. And it's for someone that I rate so highly. But at the moment in my 13 role, I got to go Dylan Walker. Like, I think Dylan Walker's been really slept on for the season that he's actually had. Like, you watch him come off our complete shift of our team has changed with Tohu Harris playing limited minutes and Sean Johnson obviously falling out of the lineup and Smarty Martin going into that 7 jersey and Dylan Walker starting in that 13. And we just seen an uptick in our tempo to start the game. He links both our men together, but he's so smart footy IQ wise, like you could throw him up with like the Bailey Hayward. So I could see like a Josh Curran there. Like I could really put him in that 13 jersey. I think he would do a job there. But yeah, that's why I went. I'm going to stick with it. Dylan Walker at my 13. Nah. What's your thoughts?
No, I like it. I actually did think about potentially Bailey Hayward getting the nod at 13 there just because of the role that he plays for us. But yeah, to fit in Max King, Ads, and Barnett, I had to go with, Barnett at lock there and then Max King and Ads up front. And then the other one that I really tossed up in the air was Jacob Preston over Josh Curran. But just with him being so young, I was just like, and in injuries, I had to edge towards Curran, but I do like Niokore as well.
Yep. We had an interesting one. If you watched our All You Can Eat last night, Karaz or Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, which would you rather currently right now? Karaz? Last year, which would you have rather?
Karaz?
Yeah. Do you reckon, what do you think is the big difference between the two? It's obviously the work rate, would you say?
No, the work rate from Dallin is fairly good, but Dallin's got a fair few errors in him, and just the things that Karaz can do off the cuff. He can go into that center role. He's proving now that he can play a bit of fullback, but just the tackle breaking, the offloading, and the actual work to score a try. Dallin's a great finisher. Don't get me wrong, but if he needed to go and break some tackles to score that try, he's probably not going to do that. Whereas Karaz can actually break some tackles to score that try. So I'm just going to edge him out over Dallin and more so just the flexibility of him as well. He's bigger, stronger, and younger. But that's no knock on Dallin. He had an outstanding season last year and he got Winger of the Year for a reason. But, Jacob Karaz, for me, he's different. And we noticed it that one game he played when he first broke onto the scene where he didn't even have a deal yet. I think he was on a trainer trial deal. And then the Doggies had to pull some strings to get him to stay. So, yeah, he's different, man. He's different.
I think that's definitely the matchup for we're watching it this weekend too. Like, Dallin, there's a lot of matchups, like the same side matchup, of Marata Niokore and Kikau is going to be a massive one. And while we're talking on matchups and that, we may as well talk on, who's going to win the battle in certain positions on the field. So you're kind of touching on, how do you want us to run with this one, my brother? Explain to the people.
So what me and Ash are going to look at is we're going to break down the team into 4 categories. So we're going to go with the spine. We're going to go 1, 6, 7, and 9. We're going to rate who's got the better 1, 6, 7, and 9 and give a point to that team, whether it's the Bulldogs or the Warriors. And then we're going to go 2, 3, 4, and 5 and rate who's got the better team there, give that point. And then it will roll into 8, 10, 11, 12, and 13. That'll be another category, and then a category of the bench as well, and to see if we can split them. I know that's only 4 points to choose from because the coaches are going to pretty much cancel each other out, so we won't count that. But we might do the 5th point as an overall team. But yeah, so that's the 4 categories we're going to split. So we'll start off with the 1, 6, 7, and 9. And for me, I'm going to edge out the doggies just. I'm going to say that we've got the upper hand just in the 1, 6, 7, and 9. And this was so hard for me because Connor, Tracy, and Chance, they cancel each other out, in my opinion. Chance, I'll probably give a little bit more credit to. But then for me, Burton separates himself a little bit from Chanel. But then for me, Tamare also separates himself a little bit from Sexton. And that really came down to the 9s. And I had to give the nod to Reed. So that's how I came up with the doggies having that better spine just.
Yeah. See, like, I'm obviously slightly on the Warriors side with the spine, mainly because I see the difference of Chancey and, like, you know, Chancey's, you know, because Connor Tracy's best part of his game is definitely his work rate out of the back end, right? And, like, you know, he's a running first type of fullback, gets for a ton of meters. But looking at, like, an average game, he'll get for 148. Chancey at the moment is, like, upwards of, like, 200 a game. Like, he's going to get for a consistent work out of his back end. Errors does happen with him sometimes, but I feel like the high work rate when he gets through that 3rd tackle set gets us on the front foot. Think of our backline of just gone, like, you know, I know we're not talking about backline, but we got Dal, Monty and that, but he's the next one, bang, and he gets us on the front foot, usually gets us over that 40 advantage, 50 advantage. And then moving to the halves, Matty Burton's definitely the upper hand of you. I'd say Chancey, if we're looking at both their games aside, I'd say Birdo's kicking game elevates him a lot higher. When we're looking at running game, I'd say Birdo just, but I don't think Chanel's too far behind in the running game. Defensively, I would sway it away just to Chanel. You know what I mean? But I'd say, like, the playmaking ability of Matty Burton is a higher at the moment than Chanel Harris-Tavita. I feel like sometimes Chanel can look very awkward sometimes in that 6 jersey. But when he thinks run first mentality and all that, I'd say, like, you know, he's really dangerous that way. Then Tomato Martin, I'd have him over Toby Sexton, even though I think Toby Sexton's definitely got a future to be a decent 7. I don't think he's going to be an absolute great 7 or anything like that. I think he's a good one to get around the park. Then we go to our number 9s. This is a tough one because, again, like, I think Wado's ruck deception is the best or some of the best in the hooker in the competition, right? Like, the way he strips markers, he splits markers, uses, like, gets people on the front foot. But defensively, he'll get through 50 tackles, but he'll get a head knock with those 50 tackles. Reed Marnie will get through 50, lead the line speed, and he'll be there a game. So I'll edge Reed Marnie, as we just touched on before. So it is 50-50, bro, and this is really, really tough. But I edge it just a swayed away on Chance Nickel Clockstag at fullback, the more experienced fullback, probably gets for a little bit more work. And then the one added feature of Chancey is he's out the back play. You know what I mean? Like, he's got really good playmaking out the back, especially on that right side. He's seen him in that 6 jersey at the Panthers game, put that really nice try assist on. The Cowboys game, the flick out the back. He's got that. It's really underrated part of his game that people don't really see.
Yeah. Are you forgetting the Eels game, though, with Connor Tracy?
Yeah, that's
what I mean. Are you forgetting that?
I played that out in all you can eats, bro.
You know?
his speed this weekend. That's the one thing I did point out. All you can eats is Pompey's going to have to be on this weekend because the speed of Connor Tracy getting on his outside, what he did to Arcee is very similar things he could do to Adam Pompey. So we've got to get on him early, and that's not taken away from Connor Tracy. But as an overall fullback, I'll say that Chancey elevates for me.
All right, so you're saying the Waz 1 for the spine. I'm saying the doggies 1 for the spine.
What do you reckon? Right. We'll go 0.5? 0.5 apiece?
Yeah, well, it's going to be not make a difference. So, yes, 1 or all. All right, what do you think about the backs, though? So 2, 3, 4, and 5.
2, 3, 4, and 5. I would say you edge it. And this is mainly coming on the back of the 2, 3, and 4. I would say that Dallin, I'll take Dallin over Blake Wilson. If that's not taking anything away from Blake Wilson, I think Blake Wilson's absolutely incredible. He's got a lot of talent in that, but Dallin's more experienced and like comparatively to Blake Wilson has got more of the tackle break ability, work rate at the back end, the finishing abilities there. But as I said before, I'll take Bronson Xerri in a heartbeat. I love his speed on the edge. I love the way he plays center. He's not a liability in defense either. He holds in very well defensively. And there's a stat I found out the other night. Did you know that your worst defensive side is actually your right side still? Where Stephen Crichton's side? Didn't know that. And I don't think it's down to Stephen Crichton, but I would say that Toby Sexton might have something to do with that there too. James Salmon being a smaller body, even though he's a better defensive, like sort of edge back rower. But that is your worst defensive side, which really like shows that Sherry's like actually doing a decent job.
Tries or?
Yeah. So you've leaked 11 tries out of your majority, which you haven't leaked that many tries this season. So the stats like kind of either way. But out of your two sides, like your middle is like impenetrable at the moment. You've only leaked like 4 tries there this season or something like that. Your left edge was like 26%, and then your right edge was 56%, which was like, I couldn't believe that. I was like sitting there going, how? Like, I haven't seen that this season. I thought your left side was probably the leakier side, in my opinion.
Well, you got to keep in mind that a couple of those tries potentially happened when Stephen Crichton was in for the Origin camp as well and didn't actually
This could
play.
also be it.
And I also think it comes from most teams love to attack down their left a lot more than their right. So that is the stronger attacking side that we have to, most teams will be better attacking points left edge. So I think that's probably where that's coming from. So, but that is crazy. I didn't expect that.
So that's what I was saying. Like Bronson Xerri is doing his weight there defensively. He's not a liability there. So that's where I swayed away you guys on your back line. Like I would have Karaz in a heartbeat. I would have Stephen Crichton in a heartbeat, and I would have Bronson Xerri in a heartbeat. I love our boys that we got there currently right now, and I think they hold up closely about most of these players there, but having Stephen Crichton there, who you could say is an out and out best right center in the competition right now. I can't say that for any of our boys in our back line.
Okay, so we're both going the doggies on that one. So you've got it even. I've got 2 to the doggies. All right, now the engine room. So 8 through to 13.
I think this is where we have you. This is where we have you. And I'd say this is where the game is going to be won or lost for us. Is like, it's not won or lost for us, but more the fact of we're going to get in good field position. And I think you know that too. Like, your forward pack is like smaller, but they're higher work rate type of forwards. You do limit you're one of the best teams for limiting run meters, but you're also one of the better teams for getting into the arm wrestle through penalties and stuff like that. And you haven't come up against a proper pack like this that's like such a high front work rate, and our back end do really good job to start them off on their sets too. And so they come into the game on that 40, that 50 tackle, and they get us over the edge. Martinir Corday running on the edge there. I'd say him and William Kikau probably equal themselves out. But everyone else out there, I'd take Adam Fanor-Blake, Mitch Barnett, Cody Capewell, him and Salmon probably go 50-50, I'd say. But I think that Tohu Harris, Bailey Hayward's a great player, but I don't think Tohu will start at 13. I think Dylan Walker will start at 13. And I think Dylan Walker at the moment is just a little bit further ahead than Bailey Hayward, even though Bailey Hayward's really, really smart, a great football player. That's where I edge it for our boys, because I really do think that that's where our game's going to be won or lost, is with that forward pack. Yeah,
look, I got to, obviously on paper as well, give you guys the nod, but my boys through the middle have been proving teams wrong, left, right, and center. All year. I mean, like, you guys are, I would say, very similar to how the Sharks played on the weekend. They do exactly what you guys do. They rely on their forward pack, and their backs do get them off to a good start. And we limited those guys really well. I'm comparing the games. I know you can't compare any week in, week out to anything, it just shows that if you just show up on the day. But if I'm comparing you guys to the Sharks, which I do see a lot of similarities in the way you guys play your games, we got the edge over them and we didn't play our best attacking footy. I am still going to roll to the Warriors middle to get that point. So, but I do have a lot of hope there that we'll still continue to do our job there. And then we come to our bench. So you've got it 2-1 to the Warriors. I've got it 2-1 to the Bulldogs. And who are you going to give the nod to the bench? The bench was hard for me.
It's really tough, right?
I don't even know how the rotations are going to work for either team. It's just It's a tough one.
It's tough because, as I said before, I'll take Josh Curran back in a heartbeat. I love Joshy Curran. Like at the moment, we have Dylan Walker on this bench who I think will be starting. But even then, with Tohu on this bench, I still love Tohu and that off the bench. Jazzy, just the energy ball that he has, very similar to the Curtis Moran. Jackson Ford. It's so like, it's very, very similar. And it just shows that we run very similar systems. We have very similar makeup in certain areas of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really curious, but I would just edge our bench slightly. I think from like 14 to 17, like just the names off that paper, like Freddie, it's tough. Kurt Mann does a really good job in that utility role. Dylan Walker, as I said before, if he's going to be starting, like I would have him there in a heartbeat. But Tohu off the bench at the moment, he's that leader that holds us all the way through. Lockie, get out of our chat with the Titans. And then I'll look at Jazzy Tavunga and Jackson Ford. And Jazzy, like, he's just the energy ball off the bench. When he's on, he's on. Very similar to Curtis Moran, but I would edge it just to us, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to, just on experience as well. Yeah, it's very similar in my opinion. The only thing that's kind of giving you guys a nod for me is maybe the experience
Hot
Jackson
Boy.
Ford, just has over Hot Boy. Other than that, they're really a similar build. So I'll give you guys the edge on that one, and I'll say it's 2-2, and it's going to be anyone's game. But you've got it 3-1. So you've got it 3-1. I've got it 2-2.
Do you want my honest opinion how I think this game's really going to go? Like, we run it through our paper and all that, but the way I think it's going to go, bro, is I honestly think we're going to dictate the field position, because we've only not dictated that twice this year. And I think one of it was the Titans game, and the other game was the Dragons game. Actually, the Roosters game too. So 3 times this year, we haven't dictated the field position battle. I think we're going to get a lot of cracks at your line, but the best part of your season is your goal line defense is just like impenetrable. Like, as I said, you concede the least amount of tries in the competition right now. And what makes us struggle is when we have adversity, when we can't crack a line, we get frustrated. And the kicking game of Birdo is going to be on. He's going to kick you out of trouble, get you into field position. And when you have certain moments, you got someone like Stephen Crichton that can just pull something out of nothing. You know what I mean? You got players like that can win you a game. This season, we haven't had a game like that to win a game yet. Like, we had the Manly game that we didn't get over the top of Manly. We had the opportunities to do it. We weren't able to. This is a game that I can see going right down to the wire, and it's really up to the halves and how they're going to go and how they're going to dictate this game. If Tomato Martin can break you open, we should be fine. But when we get frustrated, our defense can get leaky, and that we can leak line breaks. And that's where I really worry with some of the players that, like, the Connor Tracy's, the Blake Wilson's type of players. So that's my thoughts. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, look, you pretty much summed it up. It's your typical engine room, playing the flashier squad, in my opinion. You guys just roll up your sleeves. Like you said, you're going to get into good field position. It just depends how you guys use those chances you guys get. Whereas, we're just going to keep coming at you, and any crack we get, there's potential points on offer if we attack the way we have been this year. And then, Burton's kicking game is advantage of its own. Montoya and Dallin are going to have nightmares of the bombs coming their way. So, if there's a bit of water around and those bombs are going up as well, it makes it a whole different story. But we haven't lost at home this season either,
bro. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Onto that. Yeah. I think it's supposed to be wet too on Saturday. So you're right there.
So look, it's gonna be tough if our middles lay a decent platform and can handle the offloads and the line bending from you guys. I reckon we'll be able to get the job done. But I reckon it'll be a very low scoring one. That rolls into my multi of Jacob Carraz. I think I went, Jacob Carraz, Dallin, and under 46 points is $10. So that's where I reckon it'll be one. It'll be a very close one. I'm going to say 1-12 either way. But I am going to say that the doggies will get the job done.
Yeah, it's again, bro. I'm the same, but I think it's going to be really, really close. I'm just going to formulate something really now off the top of my head. I'm going to go Warriors 1-12, and I'm going to pair that up with I think Mitch Barnett's going to be really nice on that right edge. Just he's actually playing for the middle, sorry, but he gets changed sometimes to that right edge. So I'm going to put him in there and see what he ends up coming as. Where are you at, Mitch Barnett? Where are you at? 7.75 for Mitch Barnett, anytime try scorer. He put that together, $24.75. So Warriors 1-12. I see that's our best way for this to happen. I don't think there's going to be a blowout on our end, possibly. Where I've seen the doggies, when they get a sniff, they can blow a team out. That's the only thing that does worry me. But as a Warriors fan, 1-12, Mitch Barnett, bro. Mitch Barnett will be our leader.
Like
He'll carry us through this victory, hopefully.
Oh, okay.
Great segment, bro.
Shawnee's in, bro. Nah.
Shawnee will get the job done. Shawnee will get the job done.
Bro. Shawnee ain't
Full
getting
trust
no
in
job
Shawnee.
He's going to win this season.
Hey?
Have you guys won with Shawnee this season? Like, at all?
3 games, baby. 3 games.
Oh,
we had a 3-piece with him.
That's about half your wins for the season, so that's not too bad, I guess.
Hey, mate, listen. We'll get it done at Core Stadium. We'll break that streak where you haven't lost the game at home this season. It's going to happen.
I would like to see it. No, I wouldn't. It's not going to happen.
Warriors fan. This is a Warriors channel. Bring it out. No. All right. Massive game. The next game after this one, the West Tigers versus the Melbourne Storm. The Tigers coming off a slacking last week. The Melbourne Storms continue fighting wins. Is this the game the Melbourne Storm drop a game, Brody? Tell us now. Is this the game?
It's not. Pappy back as well. His heel is all sweet, so he's returning. So, yeah, Storm. Another Storm victory, for my opinion.
Yeah, I can't go away from that either. I'm excited to see how Adam Dewey goes again in this game. It's just so good to see him back in rugby league, and he's been incredible in that. Really unfortunate, obviously, getting blown out last week to the Roosters, and a massive matchup he had there on his hands. I'm pretty sure he was the one defending on Joey Manu. But yeah, I feel for the Tigers, because ever since they've got their 2-game streak and that, they went bang Roosters, bang Storm, and you kind of go, I'm sorry, guys, you're back again. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, we're going to go Melbourne there, brother. We're going to go Melbourne. Even though at Leichhardt, they've been playing well at Leichhardt, but yeah, we're going Melbourne.
It's not going to make a difference.
Next game of the weekend, we got the Cowboys versus the Eagles, my brother. Not too many, a massive change actually I want to talk about. Tommy Trbojevic comes back and he's playing center. I mean, Tolu Kola will play fullback. What's your thoughts there? Is that enough for Manly to get over the top of the Cowboys at Townsville? What's your thoughts?
Oh, I think Manly will win, even if Trbojevic potentially wasn't playing. The Cowboys are too hit and miss for me to back them. But Trbojevic in, man, is so big. The presence he's going to have, I think he'll be on that right edge. Man, he'll be up against Valentine Holmes. So, again, another test for Valentine Holmes heading into Origin. Let's see if another Blues player dominates him. So, I think Trbojevic to the center is good to just really take care of that hamstring. In a few games back, really tested out for him. So I think that's a smart move. He doesn't need to bring the ball back off kick returns, and expect him to still float around the middle of the field. It wouldn't surprise me that if it's only him playing center, while he doesn't have to bring the kick return back. So he'll defend in center, but you watch him attack all over the field. Yeah, is what I think will happen there. So yeah, I'm going to go with Manly.
He's going to be damaging, bro. Is he on for an anytime try scorer for you reckon? Like first game back, Valentine Holmes side. If he is on that side, we're all just kind of thinking that. Like I feel like he attacks better on his left side at fullback, but he can go both ways. But played that right side in the Blues squad in Origin too. So that's why a lot of people were thinking like the right side as well. So if Valentine Holmes has got that matchup, do you see an anytime try scorer prospect there for Tommy Turbo?
100%. 100%. You got Okolawatu on that right-hand side as well with Sherry Evans, and expect the chip for chip over the top for Tommy Turbo over Tommy did. And so, there's plenty of ways that Tommy can score there. So expect him anytime try scorer. What's he paying for that? I know you're looking at it. There you go. Look at that.
225 for Tommy Turbo.
I like it.
I like that.
I'll be putting that on. I'll put that on.
Do you reckon Gola at fullback? Would you rather Gola or would you rather Hopawate from the last couple of weeks? Because Hopowate's been really good. I like Gola though, but
he's been really good. I think it was more so how they're going to get Saab, Garrick, and the form that Talau has been in. it's to kind of get them all in that team. So I think that was the
Yep.
only thing you could do was drop Papawadi. And he's only young. He'll get another crack.
He is. Yeah, he's definitely a big talent for the future, but we're both going to be on the Manly Seagulls, my brother. I picked Manly before this. Again, I think the Cowboys on a 2-game winning streak, I'm pretty sure from memory. I don't remember if they won a 3-game, but 2-game win streak from memory. You can see him dropping one at least, and the Manly Seagulls, they got a good attacking outfit that they can give it to the Cowboys. So I've got the Manly Seagulls in that one head-to-head. I reckon they got it going on up there at Townsville. Second last game of the weekend, brother. We got the Roosters and the Dragons. I actually think this is going to be a really solid matchup if the Dragons were able to make a thing out of it. Like, I know we're going to, the Anzac game really sticks in people's minds so that the Roosters absolutely killed them. But do you reckon the Dragons have grown from that game? Combination-wise, they've grown from that game. Are they enough to beat the Roosters, or do you think that they'll be able to make it close in this game? What's your thoughts?
Nah, the Dragons won last week, so they're due for a loss already, unfortunately. They're too hit and miss. For me to back them against a team like the Roosters, you need to bring your A game. So I know Joey Manu's out. That's a big out, but, Tupanua playing in the centers is really strong defensively for someone like Moses Sully as well, that he's going to be defending up against potentially. And then Michael Jennings, he's old, but he'll get that job done in the centers still. I'm still going to go the Roosters, man. Teddy's been in unreal form. So Sam Walker, Angus Crichton. I can't go past the Roosters.
Yeah, you just look at that team, top to bottom, even though missing their 2 big centers of Joseph Suoli'i and Joey Manu, still, look at the name, James Tedesco, Daniel Tupou, Dominic Young, Luke Keary, Sam Walker, the points in that back line there, and then you add to their forward pack, it's an insane squad, bro. Spencer Leniu comes back into the squad again, Terrell May, Terrell May's been incredible for the minutes he's playing. He's gone back to the bench now. Spencer comes back in. He's going to eat up his minutes. You got Lindsay Collins back in the lineup. He's going to eat through minutes. Bro, this team is incredible. Shout out to the Dragons. Hopefully they make a contest out of it, but I can just see Roosters getting it done and probably getting it done strong at Allianz.
100%.
What's your thoughts? Yep. We're going 13 plus, you reckon?
I'm going to go 8+.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I reckon they'll get it done convincingly, but they could have a bit of a slip up to the point where they get a bit of a scare. Their discipline's pretty bad as well, and if you're defending with 12 against a team like the Dragons with that much size, they could make it a lot closer. So I will go the Roosters by 8 at least.
Yep.
But 13+ is very possible.
And Jazzy, we did speak about Tupanua a little bit early on in the show, but Brodie, quick rundown, your thoughts on Tupanua. Obviously, do you enjoy that signing? He'll probably play the middle for you reckon? Yeah,
look, I thought it was a bit of a weird one, but I thought a lot of our signings this year were a bit weird, and we've made them work. I think Tupanua's an absolute gun. I think he's a great back rower, strong defensively, great hole runner. I just don't want to see it push out either Viliami Kikau or Jacob Preston. So I do like the signing. I'll take him any day of the week, especially with injuries that Kikau picks up, and Jacob Preston seems a bit injury prone at this moment as well. But we have seen Tupanua play in the centers, coming off the bench for that middle role. So I really do like the signing. I think it's a good one. He's a talented player. I would have loved to see him go to a system where he would be definitely concrete starting back rower. But I definitely think it's a good signing, and I'll take him, man. The more depth is key. We've got Origin players as well. Jacob Preston could potentially be in the New South Wales training squad next year. Who knows? Josh Curran, those guys might be missing from our team next year. So somebody like Tupanua to fill that role while those guys are out as well is, it's great. I'll take him, man. He's a talent. I've been saying that for a while. Me and Ash have spoke about that for a while. So.
Yeah, I thought that we might have had a chance with him with his little brother over here with the Warriors, but it's good to see that he go to another great system with the Doggies, and I'm sure the system you're building there, it's very much plug and play at the moment, and I'm sure that you're going to get a big body like him that has a ton of athleticism and talent. He's just going to be incredible for you guys. But shout out to you, Jazzy. I saw you there, honing in your feed, my brother. I hope that feed was absolutely amazing, whatever you got into, my man. But we may as well, if you got the milk down in you, bro, we're going down to the milk. We're going to Canberra. Canberra Raiders.
I like what you did there. That's your talent. Next blocker here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that amazing. All right, let's go. Dale Botende. All right. The Canberra Raiders versus the Newcastle Knights, my brother, at Canberra. This one, for me, the big one, obviously, KP back in the lineup. Are the Raiders going to be able to hold out the Newcastle Knights, especially down that left edge as well? And with on the back of that, do you see this Canberra Raiders side at home being able to get it done over a Knights team that is hopefully just finding their form again?
It's so hit and miss with Canberra. It really is. And the Knights, they might start to find form and go on that run. The only thing that's making me lean towards the Knights is I didn't like KO Weeks at fullback. I thought he's better in the halves. I didn't get to watch too much of the game to see what that Adam Cook was like. But there must be something there that is making Ricky persist with it. But for me, I would have, KO Weeks in the halves and Jordan Rapana at fullback. And I think that would be a better lineup for Canberra. But I'm going to go with the Knights. I just think the forward packs are quite similar. I really like the work that Leo Thompson's been doing. Tyson Frisell's been strong. Kai Paul Pierce has been outstanding. And then it's the battle of the halves. And if Will Price is the real deal with Ponga back and the form that his left side is in, they'll get over the top of Canberra pretty comfortably in this one.
Yeah, and talking about the halves combination, I think it really helps someone like Jackson Hastings to have a run first sort of number 6 there with Will Price. Very similar to what he had with Tyson Gamble of last year, and that when him and Jack Colger were together, like both sort of like very similar to what went wrong with our Warriors of trying to go the 7 of Tamati Martin and Sean Johnson and try to work with those boys. They're both ball dominant, playmaking type halves. When you have a halfback like Jackson Hastings that likes to like get people to the points on the field and set up a lot of boys, when you got running fullbacks that got something out of nothing in them, like they got the attacking ability of Will Price and stuff like that, I think it opens up his game even more as well. And I just see him just putting a lot of ball on the platter for KP to really feed off the back of that as well. Brother. I think that left edge is going to be really, really humming. I'm really excited to see Brandon Best in this game. I'm really excited to see Greggy Marju again in this game. So I'm going to go the Knights, even though it's at Canberra. But again, as you said before, Canberra could like easily just go 1-12, get into a grind and get it over the top of them. They can pull it out of nowhere. Yeah, they just do that. It's really, really tough, bro. But you went Canberra, you went Newcastle as well?
Yeah, I'm going the Knights on this one as well.
Yo, do you have any value bets on that game, or there's not really much?
Nah, I didn't really touch on that one. So, it'll for me, it'll be seeing those guys down that left edge run a bit of a muck for the Knights. So, the Knights are favourites as well. So, there's not much you can throw there. I would potentially maybe look at, Marju, Brady Best anytime together as $4. It's not really worth. It's worth it, but risk over reward. Maybe them two combining for 3 tries. I don't know.
Could be a go, yeah. Any other value bets for the weekend, bro? Like an overall value for the weekend? If you got a team multi,
I didn't take a team multi this week. There's too many games where I think they're a little bit close, or it's a blowout, and it's not really worth adding in that team.
Judging by this, I think like for majority of the teams that are favorites are looking like they're going to come over the top, other than the New Zealand Warriors. But
dreams are free, right? Dreams are free.
Dreams are free. But it just seems to be one of those weekends. But you just know the rugby, like NRL, especially this year, like there's going to be a couple of upsets here that we're going to be talking about next Wednesday, which I am so excited for, bro. Thank you again for another amazing show, brother. You got anything else you want to really touch on before we go?
Nah, that's about all, brother. I'm sure we'll see some chats about the game on Saturday. I'm keen to watch it.
Nah, 100%, bro, 100%. We're going to be definitely messaging back and forth and all that. And, hopefully either way, it's just going to be a good, solid game. And neither of our sides really underperform to an extent where we come on the next show and go, what the fuck just happened? And your team is absolutely incredible. Those sort of things. You know what I mean? No 66-6s. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Right? All right.
Okay. All right, brother. No, appreciate you, my man. Thank you so much for another show, bro. Episode 4 of Down Unders. We'll continue to grow on this, guys. A lot of new segments that we're bringing to the show. 2 hours and 17 minutes, my brother.
We can't get it back under an hour and a half now. I don't know what's going on.
We'll figure it out. But even then, I'm sure everyone's loving it out there. Thank you for the 63 viewers that have consistently been here from the start to finish. 65 currently right now. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the content, please make sure you like and subscribe. If you missed the show at all, guys, the beauty of YouTube, you can go rewatch the complete streams from start to finish. And also, Brody, will you chuck the value bets for the weekend in the comment section after the stream, my brother? Just chuck it in there as well. Sweet, my man. All right. Enjoy the weekend, guys. Up the Warriors, baby. Up the Warriors. Let's go.
Up the doggies.